a lot less humid outside, which is a very good thing. However, my morning has been insanely hectic, as well as the morning of every single member of the Hardcore Sports channel. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but we need to address the fact that it's Saturday! You know what that means? We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, Oh man, even when shit doesn't go as planned, that smell does not change. And do you know what that smell is? That's the smell of excellence right there. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind! And this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, July 30th, 2022. I am, of course, the greatest man that ever lived. I understand that it may come as a shock to everyone that I'm streaming live only on my channel. Obviously, there was some technical difficulties regarding Hardcore Sports, and I will get into that. So apparently, I was going about my morning as per usual. Mitch gives me a call. Mitch is currently in the chat right now. Shout out to Mitch. Mitch, he gave me a call stating that all of the future streams, including a couple of streams over the course of the last week, for some reason, they just got completely fucking erased. Don't know why. Then later on, we found out that no one caused this to happen. It was not a botch on anyone's behalf. No one accidentally deleted anything. Looks like it's a StreamYard issue. And apparently, it seems to be only the Hardcore Sports StreamYard, because my StreamYard seems to be working just fine. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure why this is happening. Hopefully, AK Eagles, Mitch, and Mr. Tyler Schlendorn will be able to shed some light on this as the day goes on. We may have to do the rewind as well on my channel specifically. Not necessarily a fan of it, but nevertheless, we'll figure it out. Tyler, I know he's a very hardworking individual. He's going to do everything that he possibly can in order to fix this. Same thing with Mitch, same thing with AK. So shout out to all of them. Thank you for making me aware of it, Mitch. Greatly appreciate it. But even though we are not streaming live on 4 different platforms across 6 different accounts, we still got the channel right here. I understand there's no crazy intro. There's no check the mic and make sure it sounds right, boy. But trust me, we don't need to check the mic. Because the mic's working just fine. The Blue Snowball mic always works just fine as it is. And DJ Storms, when DJ Storms is live on YouTube, you know you're always going to have a good time. No matter if we got the fancy background, the fancy intro song, no matter what, we're going to have a good time. Shout out to everyone in chat right now. Shout out to Mitch. Shout out to the Final Hoss. Shout out to Shooter, DJ Sums, Peanuts, and Dee Dee, of course. Got a decent crowd thus far. Hopefully that crowd will increase as the video goes on. We have 7 likes so far. 7 likes so far. I think we could do a little bit better than that. But before we get into what we're going to get into, we have a lot of news, a lot of rumors to get into, a lot of shit to talk about, that's for sure. A lot of weekly shows to cover as well. I covered NXT. I covered NXT UK as well. I decided to cover all of WWE's programming this week. Shout out to Earl Cole, too. Earl Cole's also in the chat. Earl Cole will be making his debut on the Hardcore Sports channel as soon as they can sort out whatever the fuck's going on. But nevertheless, shout out to Earl Cole. Before we get into what we're going to get into, I reviewed and I took notes on all of the weekly shows this week, mainly because of the fact that this was Triple H's first week in charge. Nothing major has changed, so I wouldn't really recommend saying, oh my God, now we got great shows. No, but we did see some subtle changes. We'll go over that. We'll dive in depth on what was changed and what could possibly come in the future as well. But first things first, people, before we get into what we're going to get into, please be sure, if you haven't already done so, follow me on social media at HistoryMakerDJS, both on Twitter and Instagram. Add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Please make sure you like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, please make sure that you like all the videos that you may have missed. Obviously, a couple of streams got deleted. The rewind for Death Before Dishonor unfortunately got deleted, as well as the rundown for SummerSlam with Mitch Kofsky, which I'm rather pissed about. I'm rather pissed about that, but nevertheless, hopefully we'll be able to recover any deleted streams that were pretty much deleted. We're taken off of StreamYard and all of our separate YouTube channels, which is absolutely fucking insane. Hopefully that will get rectified in due time. But please make sure, check out any videos that you may have missed. Lightning Flash update from last week was a great fucking stream, and thank God it didn't get deleted. We actually pulled in over 200 views. That's right, over 200 views for last week's LFU. So shout out to everyone. You guys are awesome. You guys came in clutch for that. So people, if you can, I want to see if we can get 200 views on this LFU. Even though we don't got the fancy shit, and even though we're not streaming across 6 different platforms, please, I think we can get 200 views on this. But in order for you guys to do that, I'm going to need you guys to do a few things. Before we do those things, first things first, you got to follow all of Hardcore Sports' YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all of their social media platforms. Their Twitch, Hardcore Sports 1, Instagram, Hardcore Sports Network, YouTube, Hardcore Sports Network, Twitter, Hardcore Sports N. All of those links are in the description. So if you're not following those guys, please go and check them out. I'm very happy to be a part of Hardcore Sports. And again, hopefully we get this issue with StreamYard sorted out very soon. We are about almost 9 minutes into the stream. If you haven't liked the video, I'm not sure what the fuck you're doing, because as I'm taking a look at it right now, I only see 9 likes. I only see 9. You see, that right there is a fucking problem. We have a lot to talk about. SummerSlam is tonight, might I also add. So if you guys are coming on in, I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing, but when you come on in, you got to hit the like button when you come on in. That's vital. Unless I don't know what the fuck you're doing here, then of course I'm going to need you to share out the stream. Share out the stream on all platforms, social media. I'm talking about Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch, whatever social media platforms that you may be using at the moment. Please make sure you share it out so that way we can get a larger outreach. We can get as many people in here as we possibly can. And we have a very newsworthy, a very packed chat. Because the bigger the chat, the better. That means more likes. That means more views. So guys, please make sure you're sharing out the stream to the best of your ability. Of course, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button when you come on in, and you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. And I'll tell you why. Because it's the only time you won't get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination And this beautiful mustache right here, this is Earl's favorite part of the stream right here. We're going to light it up, baby. We're going to light it up with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like Campbell's soup, I'm so good. The tastiest snack in the IWC. All the ladies want to have a little DJ Storms in their life. Everybody wants a piece of Storms Meister. You already know. You already know. Anyway. Let's dive straight into the news, rumors, and reports. For those of you that saw the rewind for Death Before Dishonor before it got deleted, I talked about what happened with Jonathan Gresham. So apparently, Jonathan Gresham and Tony Khan, they had a meeting and shit just came to blows. I'm not sure when it was specifically or how it came to be this tense or how it became to be this serious over the course of X amount of months since Jonathan Gresham's run in AEW / Ring of Honor, his run under Tony Khan. It barely even got started. It was in the embryonic stages. So, for those of you that missed the boat, Jonathan Gresham apparently cursed out Tony Khan, and he requested his AEW Ring of Honor release, expressing frustrations with the current booking direction of his character, considering he was the Ring of Honor World Champion, and the lack of communication. So, Fightful provided an update on what happened with Jonathan Gresham. Apparently, according to Fightful, Gresham cursed out Tony Khan before his match in the meeting at around 4 p.m. last Saturday before Death Before Dishonor. Now, he felt that there was a disconnect between being able to speak about his current booking as Ring of Honor World Champion. He was passionate about his beliefs and Ring of Honor itself, so everything came to blows. More specifically, he was not in favor of the heel turn, but Tony Khan told him that there was a bigger picture to it. Now, I tried to give Gresham the benefit of the doubt. I thought it was a personal issue. Turns out it wasn't a personal issue. Turns out he's just being an egotistical prick. Now, I know a thing or two about being a prick, but you see, there's a limit that you should take it to, especially if you are working under a fucking billionaire who's giving you the platform to do what you do. You need to check your fucking ego at the door. Now, first things first. I completely understand Gresham's frustrations from a communication standpoint. I have said, and you can go back and rewatch my videos as well, I've said that Tony Khan needs to do a better job at communication. He needs to schedule meetings and make sure he is available to talk to the superstars so that way they can actually have a legitimate relationship from Tony Khan rather than Tony Khan just constantly being on the go, running on fucking 15 cups of coffee a day. Tony Khan needs to assign certain people to certain aspects of the company. You need one guy for talent relations. You need one guy for creative booking for one show, another guy for creative booking to another show. But at the end of the day, Tony Khan can review it. He doesn't have to do it, but he can review it before it's sent out there. He needs a nice team. He can't run everything all on his own. He can't. He should put people out there so that way they can relay messages to him regarding talent if they're disgruntled, if they have concerns, if they have questions, if they want to talk about the current direction of their characters on television. The organization backstage needs to be better. That and the fact that they don't have enough hours of TV time. Those are their top two problems right now. So that I understand. I completely understand where Jonathan Gresham is coming from a communication standpoint. However, the way that he went about it, completely unprofessional. You don't go to Tony Khan, your fucking boss, who's had you sign for Ring of Honor for barely even 5 fucking months. Are you really this pissed off after 5 fucking months? You didn't even get started yet. Do you have any fucking patience? First of all, part of it is not even Tony Khan's fault because, like I mentioned, there aren't enough hours of TV time. You're lucky that you got a semi-decent match with Lee Moriarty out on Fyter Fest. You're lucky that you had the opportunity to put yourself out there in a scenario where you were on television with Tully Blanchard, and now you were fighting Claudio Castagnoli at the Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor show. Ring of Honor doesn't have a TV deal yet. At the end of the day, Tony Khan needs to put his Dynamite superstars first. You are the Ring of Honor World Champion. So at the end of the day, there is a hierarchy. I'm not saying that you're never going to become a prominent figure. I'm not saying that Jonathan Gresham cannot be in a position where he gets more TV time, but now is not that time. People have lost every single sense of fucking patience. Seriously, they've lost all of their sense of patience, and they just want everything now. What makes Gresham so special that he needs preferential treatment when he comes on in? Meanwhile, he hasn't even been signed to AEW for 6 fucking months. If anything, Gresham, he thought he was bigger than what he really was. And at the end of the day, his fucking ego and his stubbornness, it was his own downfall. It was his own downfall. And you want to talk about communication issues? Yes, I understand you're frustrated with the communication issues. Tony Khan needs to do better at that. But I mean, get the fucking line. Get the fucking line. There's a lot of people that have been there for however many months and years, and they haven't had the opportunity to talk to Tony Khan and air their grievances. What makes you so fucking special? 5 months? You've been there for 5 fucking months. You've barely even established yourself under Tony Khan. What makes you worthy of this preferential treatment? Seriously. And again, you didn't even take into consideration that there aren't enough hours of TV time. So at the end of the day, Gresham, he comes off as stubborn. Then he questions the heel turn. Yes, I understand you may not be in favor of the heel turn, but I mean, let's be honest here. Gresham, he is as talently gifted as they come when it comes to in the ring. But as a babyface, there's just no emotional connection. As a babyface, there is no emotional connection between the crowd and Jonathan Gresham. This heel turn was not only designed to give Jonathan Gresham a sense of connection with the audience. Now the audience legit has a reason to care about him because now he's paired with Tully Blanchard, and we got the Embassy, now owned by Prince Nana. What Jonathan Gresham did was he threw away what could have been a major program that put him on the map. And I don't see anybody talking about this. Claudio and Jonathan Gresham, that match was not going to be the end. That match was not going to be the end of that feud. That was going to be a bridge. That was going to be a gateway to have the Embassy move over to Dynamite and fight the Blackpool Combat Club. Or maybe the Blackpool Combat Club would go down to Ring of Honor and fight the Embassy. That would have been the gateway to Jonathan Gresham versus Wheeler Yuta. That would have been the way to Jonathan Gresham versus Jon Moxley. That would have been the way to Jonathan Gresham versus Bryan Danielson. Or we could have gotten a big 8-man tag team match. A potential Anarchy in the Arena Part 2. Another potential Blood and Guts match. Jonathan Gresham threw that all the way. And not only that, but he fucked up Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony as well, because they would have been in the middle of that too. Jonathan Gresham had the opportunity to fight 3 of the best wrestlers in the company right now if he had just played ball. He doesn't want to play ball because he feels he's entitled. And on top of that, he's fucking lucky that he was given the amount of time that he was given to fight Claudio. Because if he reportedly cursed out Tony Khan before the match, and Tony Khan actually allowed Gresham to get a semi-decent amount of offense in against Claudio, Gresham should be fucking counting his lucky stars right now. You don't go into a fucking office room and curse out Tony Khan. What has Tony Khan done to you? Tony Khan has never purposely gone out of his way to disrespect one of his talents unless you push him. When you push him, he pushes back. I mean, look at what happened with Big Swole. Big Swole is a race-baiting cunt. She came out like a fucking retard and tried to say, oh, AEW not diverse enough. She's a fucking retard, is Big Swole. Tony Khan called her out. But Tony Khan has never gone out of his way to purposely instigate a fight. Big Swole purposely instigated that fight. Tony Khan defended himself. So at the end of the day, Tony Khan has never purposely done anything to try and disrespect or undermine or undervalue any of his talents. He would never do anything purposely to undermine Jonathan Gresham. He kept Jonathan Gresham as the Ring of Honor World Champion. He could have easily had Bandito beat Jonathan Gresham all the way back at Supercard of Honor. He didn't do that. He kept it on Gresham. He gave Gresham an opportunity, a match at Battle of the Belts Part 2 against Dalton Castle. He had him retain. And listen, I don't want to start any beef, but at the end of the fucking day, I mentioned it on the rewind for Death Before Dishonor. Jordynne Grace, she must be in Jonathan Gresham's ear, because let me tell you something. Jordynne Grace, she is the perfect embodiment of a women's wrestler. I have nothing but praise for Jordynne Grace as a women's wrestler. She is intense. She has a great look. She is fluid. She is the type of woman that you build a brand around. But personally, the woman is a manipulative, stubborn, selfish cunt. She is a manipulative, drama-seeking bitch. She purposely goes out of her way to start shit. Look what happened with her comments on Chris Benoit. I'm not saying you can't voice your opinion, but there's a fine line between voicing your opinion and being an insensitive, unintelligent, manipulative cunt. Jordynne Grace is just that, a selfish, drama-seeking, manipulative piece of garbage. I don't give a shit if she sees it. You can send it to her for all I care. Send it to Gresham. I don't give a shit. They're two great pro wrestlers, but at the end of the day, Jordynne Grace is a piece of garbage as an individual. She plays the victim after she starts beef in between herself and other superstars. She is a fucking cunt right down to the very last letter. She doesn't give a shit. She is selfish, she is stubborn, and she's fucking entitled. So I would not be shocked if Jordynne Grace manipulated Jonathan Gresham into thinking that he's bigger than he really is. And then this happened. I don't know why Jonathan Gresham had such a short temper, no pun intended, because at the end of the day, Jonathan Gresham, he would have gotten his just due if he waited. How long did it take Jurassic Express to become the AEW World Tag Team Champions? It took him 3 years. Sammy Guevara took him 2.5. Same thing with all these other guys. Look at Ricky Starks. It took Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs almost 3 years to really get a nice, solid, prominent role on TV. If anything, Lance Archer has more of a reason to be pissed off with Tony Khan than Jonathan Gresham does. Lance Archer's been there for over 2 years. He hasn't received his just due. He's pretty much been an afterthought. What is Jonathan Gresham complaining about when he's only been there for 5 fucking months? I understand the communication issues. Tony Khan needs to do better than that. But at the end of the day, Jonathan Gresham, he fucked over himself. And if he would have went about it in a different manner, and if he would have been patient, if he would have approached Tony Khan in a professional manner, then maybe more people would be on his side. But they're not, because at the end of the day, he conducted himself like a selfish, stubborn, egotistical douche. There's really nothing more to say on that. If you don't like it, that's on you. Because at the end of the day, what I just told you is the absolute gospel truth, whether you want to admit it or not. Jonathan Gresham fucked himself over. Now he's done with wrestling for the foreseeable future. I'm having a very hard time believing that would have been the straw that broke the camel's back. Jonathan Gresham always wants to say that he's not insecure about his height. Clearly you are. Clearly you are. That's a problem that he's got to tackle on his own. He threw away a possible great program with the Blackpool Combat Club and his faction. All for what? Because of his own selfish desires? Because of the fact that he blew shit out of proportion? He took shit too personally? Pro wrestlers have become some of the biggest pussies in the world in today's modern era. Jordynne Grace and Jonathan Gresham are two of them. It's his loss. It's his loss. What are you going to do? Tully Blanchard is also no longer with AEW or Ring of Honor. Fightful also reported this, stating the following on Tully Blanchard, and I quote, Tully Blanchard Enterprises leader didn't appear with his stable, and it was later revealed in storyline that Prince Nana had acquired the group. Blanchard was not at the show. There were mixed messages as to whether or not Blanchard outright missed his travel, or there was confusion surrounding the travel, but we're told that Blanchard's prison ministry group was cited as the reason he wasn't there. Now, I'm not sure what exactly that means or what shit he could or could not have gotten himself into, but all I can hope for is that Tully Blanchard is okay. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really care who's managing the embassy. All I care about is if they're booked well when it comes to their in-ring work. And from what I saw at Death Before Dishonor, they were fucking great in the ring. So at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with what happened. Matter of fact, I actually hope that those guys end up taking the Trio's Ring of Honor belts off of Dalton Castle and the boys, which I do believe that's the case. That should be great. That should be great. But those are what's going on as far as Tully Blanchard goes. So if you guys were interested, there you go. I got a report on CM Punk. No, I'm not talking about what happened with CM Punk and what he said regarding Sasha Banks and Naomi and the culture for WWE. I mean, that shit, I knew that. I mean, I don't have to sit here and praise CM Punk. We all know CM Punk was right in what he said right there. Only a fucking retard would think that CM Punk's wrong with what he said there. This was the thing that interests me the most, and it's a recent update on CM Punk's injury. Obviously, he was at Comic-Con in San Diego during the AEW panel on Saturday, July 23rd. And obviously, over the course of this Comic-Con, this was when he made his comments on Sasha and Naomi, comparing it to what happened with Brock Lesnar when Vince McMahon announced his retirement. And obviously, him not believing that the culture is really going to change over there because it's WWE at the end of the day. But one source who worked at the event said that it was obvious how much pain Punk was in. He was even icing his foot backstage in between appearances. He's just relearning how to walk after the reconstructive foot surgery, and he was also wearing a boot throughout the Comic-Con events. Now, I'm not sure if this is just part of the storyline or if this is legit, but I don't believe that CM Punk would go so far as to ice his foot in between the appearances. We'll have to wait and see that. I genuinely hope that CM Punk will get back as soon as possible. If he's not back by at least full gear, then I don't know. Maybe we might have a problem. I hope the injury is not as serious as it is being made out to be. All I can hope for is that he's back, at least in time for All Out, because All Out, that would be a great place to have the title unification match between Punk and Moxley. And then at the end of all of this, MJF inevitably takes the title off of CM Punk, with MJF winning it in Long Island. MJF wins it in Long Island from Punk, similar to how Punk beat Cena in his hometown of Chicago. I don't know. But all I can hope for is that Punk, this injury, really heals up quickly. Because CM Punk, there's no replacing CM Punk, and it's very, 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 very difficult to watch Dynamite without CM Punk. I'm not saying it's a bad show. It's a great show. This week was a great show. But, I mean, there's no replacing CM Punk. CM Punk is absolutely irreplaceable. He's one of a kind. He will go down as one of the best of all time, no matter how much of a fucking idiot he is as a person. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, he reported that NXT is planning on doing a special event on Sunday, September 4th. My apologies. Sunday, September 4th, on the same day as AEW All Out. I'm not really too sure how I feel about this. To be quite honest, I actually hope that this doesn't happen. I don't like when we have a scenario in which two shows overlap each other or they take place on the same day. I don't fucking like that. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't flow right to me. There's a limit. That's why I like when all these shows are spread out, whether it be WWE shows or AEW shows. I get the friendly competition and all that, but I mean, it just makes my weekend so much more busy to a point where I don't really have a chance to sit down and enjoy it. Plus, at this stage, NXT has been buried so far underground that it's going to be very, very hard for Triple H to regenerate that interest in NXT within a month, leading up into a quote-unquote takeover. If he decides to do a takeover or call it a takeover, at the end of the fucking day, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a month in order to regenerate and rejuvenate NXT from how much Vince and Bruce fucking destroyed it. NXT right now is the worst show in the industry. SmackDown from last night was actually better than NXT this week. That's how bad NXT has become. So much so that Monday Night Raw was even outdoing NXT in terms of quality. NXT right now is undoubtedly the most piss-poor wrestling show in the industry. I would take Impact over NXT as we speak. So at the end of the fucking day, I hope this doesn't happen. I hope that Triple H actually spends some time rejuvenating NXT before we actually get back into doing these special events. Because right now, these special events for NXT, they feel like nothing. In Your House this past June, over the Hell in a Cell weekend, 2 months ago, not a very good show at all. Very, very lackluster. If anything, there was only like maybe 1 or 2 matches that I would legitimately recommend you go back and rewatch. NXT right now is a dead brand. Some people have even gone out of their way to compare it to WWE's version of ECW. I actually enjoyed that more than I'm enjoying NXT as we speak. The WWE ECW, we actually had some decent shit on WWE ECW. Christian as the ECW champion back in 2009, that was actually a pretty decent fucking reign for Christian. Then we had Tommy Dreamer on there. Matt Hardy was ECW champion. Jake Hager, a.k.a. Jack Swagger, was on there. He wasn't doing some bad work at all. They were introducing new talent on WWE ECW. So at the end of the fucking day, WWE's version of ECW was way more entertaining than what we're getting with NXT right now. This version of NXT absolutely sucks giraffe cock. Really. So I actually hope that this is not true. I do not want to see a takeover or a special event that weekend. Let's talk about the big one. The big one, and then we'll get into the weekly show reviews. We have a shit ton of weekly shows to talk about. I reviewed 7, 8 if you count Dark, but with Dark actually was only a 1-match show. I only watched Dark for the LJ Cleary and Pac match for the All-Atlantic Championship, which, by the way, was a very good match. We'll talk about that. The big news, based on the thumbnail. I know a lot of people have been wanting me to talk about it, and I'm here to talk about it. Triple H. He was in the news all fucking week, and it was announced on Monday morning. I was actually headed to New York because I needed to go and visit the Mount Sinai Hospital. I had a doctor's appointment, and I needed to check up on my intestinal condition, make sure that everything was good. I'm getting new meds, so I am feeling okay. I'm feeling okay, and I just needed to get that out of the way. I went in for a half day at work that day, but while I was driving home, I get a notification that Triple H, it was announced that he would be taking over creative control for WWE, and they announced this via WWE themselves. This sent the entire IWC into an absolute fucking whirlwind. Triple H didn't waste any time making his presence known in the locker room as well. According to Fightful, Triple H held a talent meeting before Monday Night Raw went on the air, promising more transparency, saying that he wanted open lines of communication between himself and talent. And he also promised that work would be a lot more fun. There is nothing that I can say about this that hasn't already been said. There is nothing that I can say about this that you guys don't already know. And there's nothing that I can say about this that isn't already being said by the general public in the IWC. This undoubtedly is one of the best moves that WWE has made in the last 10 to 15 years. Whether you want to admit it or not, I said the same thing when Vince McMahon inevitably retired and he stepped down as the CEO, and I talked about it last week. Whether you want to admit it or not, Vince McMahon and his way was fucking cancerous. I don't give a shit how much money WWE is making. WWE's money don't mean shit. Money and the ratings don't mean shit when it comes to the quality of the show. Many people have said that the best Scream movie was the first one, yet the most recent Scream movies have been making the most money. The one from 2011, the one from this year, have been making the most money. At the end of the day, first one was still the best in terms of quality and storytelling. Triple H, whether you want to admit it or not, Triple H getting creative control, this is a great thing because now the process of change can truthfully begin. Now, Dave Meltzer, he took some time to comment on WWE's potential changes. And he said, and I quote, "One of the things I've heard is to not expect any changes because right now they want to show Wall Street and the stockholders that everything is stable and fine. They don't want big changes. In fact, there was a huge panic when Brock Lesnar walked out." End quote there. I mean, I would not put it past WWE to be doing this just until everything calms down with these allegations, and then Vince McMahon will slowly creep on back into the company. But I mean, you take a look at what happened this week. You have clearly sensed the fucking changes. And this is exactly what we need. There's not going to be any change that's going to happen immediately. There's going to be no major changes immediately. But what we're going to get is an individual with Triple H, now as head of creative. We're going to get an individual that's going to put effort into the shows. Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard put absolutely no fucking effort into the shows. And whether you want to admit it or not, the shows fucking sucked. Doesn't matter how much money that they made. The amount of money that WWE made is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. People always want to fall back on the money as an excuse, like Grimm's Toy Show. Grimm's Toy Show is a fucking retarded, obese slob. Grimm's Toy Show is the absolute bane of the IWC right now. I cannot express to you how much I fucking hate that guy. Can't stand him. I'm disgusted to even live in the same fucking state as him. But at the end of the fucking day, no matter what you want to say, WWE's original way, Vince McMahon's way, is not the only way to make money. Every single time we see an AEW production, they put on a great show and they're making money. There's no reason why you can't put on a great show and make money. Now that Triple H is in charge, he is going to mainly focus solely on the head of creative, while the other people in the back, Stephanie and Nick Khan, because Nick Khan, listen, as long as Nick Khan stays out of creative, we're fine. If he wants to run WWE from the business aspect of it, go ahead. I don't mind that. Just stay the fuck out of creative writing. That's all I care about. Stephanie, you have to imagine that Stephanie is going to be the moderator for Nick Khan. They're not going to agree on everything. And when Stephanie inevitably disagrees with something that Nick Khan does, she's going to push back. She's not just going to go along with it. Now that Triple H is solely running creative, now we're going to start to see a slow change coming over the course of the next months leading into years. It's going to take a long time, and I mean a long fucking time, for Triple H to correct and fix everything that Vince McMahon did. Vince McMahon absolutely killed this company. He killed the company. He killed the sport, so much so to a point where if you bring up wrestling to a non-wrestling fan, they will automatically shit on you. Oh, it's fake. Oh, you still watch that shit. They have absolutely no passion and no intelligence when it comes to pro wrestling. Non-wrestling fans are among the worst human beings on the face of this planet. I fucking hate non-wrestling. I really do. I really do. But now that Triple H is in charge, we're going to start to see the slow development of what the WWE product really should be. It's going to take a long time, but after what we saw this week, we have seen the small, minute changes. If you notice this week, across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, there was no comedy bullshit. That was probably one of the biggest things that WWE had that was holding them down. Too much fucking comedic bullshit and not enough serious. Meanwhile, you take a look at the shows this week, we got serious shows. Nothing felt off. Obviously, not everything was good. Raw not a good show, but it was probably the best Raw of the year. SmackDown, not a good show, but it was probably the best SmackDown of the year thus far. NXT wasn't even a good show. No WWE shows this week were good, but what we got was the process of change beginning. If you saw, everything flowed very nicely throughout all three of the shows. The shows flowed better. They flew by a little bit quicker. We saw Triple H institute more seriousness. No 24/7 title bullshit was on the show. Lacey Evans wasn't on the fucking show. We didn't have any New Day cheesy comedy on SmackDown this week. None of that. None of that. Natalya wasn't coming out dressed as Ronda Rousey with a fucking baby stroller. None of that. R-Truth didn't come on out in a fucking referee shirt and try and act as if, oh my God, R-Truth, we're going to count him out. 1, 2. Even though he's funny, no R-Truth this week. Good. No Akira Tozawa making out with Tamina Snuka. None of that. Everything was serious. I don't even think we saw an Omos match this past Monday. Omos wasn't even in action this past Monday. Perfect. Perfect. That's the least I could fucking ask for. Take Omos off of fucking TV. The small changes have already begun to show face. I don't expect Triple H to change anything as far as SummerSlam goes. But what I do expect is Triple H to make do with what he's got. Triple H always, no matter how good or bad it is, he always tries his fucking ass off to make the best out of whatever situation that he's been given. And that is exactly what I want, because Triple H can now turn negatives into positives. And that way, we'll have great feedback coming from WWE's end regarding their pay-per-views and hopefully their weekly shows going forward. I don't mind if they continue to do 12 pay-per-views a year. A lot of people complain about 12 pay-per-views a year. I understand that. I wouldn't mind it if they were actually good shows. I wouldn't mind them doing 12 pay-per-views a year as long as you put effort into them. Vince and Bruce put no effort into them, but if Triple H is going to put some fucking effort into these shows, maybe we could be looking at some semi-decent fucking shows as of lately. I got no fucking issue with this. And everyone should be on the same page here. This is not a time for people to be divided. One thing I really do hope for is the fact that now with Triple H in control, now with Vince away, people like fucking Jobber Nation and WWE Gareth, now they're going to start to fade away because they are absolute shills. They are WWE cocksuckers. Or as CM Punk said, they're bootlickers. So at the end of the day, I hope that those guys will fade away and people will start paying attention to more prominent individuals. Even Eric Bischoff said something. Eric Bischoff is one of the most retarded individuals in the fucking community, right up there with Conan, Disco Inferno, and Jim Cornette. Even Eric Bischoff said that this presents a great opportunity for WWE. This presents a great new era for WWE with Triple H now in control. This could really bring WWE up. So at the end of the day, no one should be divided when it comes to Triple H in control. Every single individual should be happy about this. And if you're not happy about this, then you're not a pro wrestling fan. You're not a pro wrestling fan, and you are not for the betterment of the sport and or the WWE itself. You need to find a new hobby. And I'll say it all the time. If you are not on board with what I'm saying, I don't give a shit if it sounds cocky or not. Everyone knows all I say is the fucking truth. And if you don't like it, you could suck my nuts. I don't care. I'm right and you know it. If you're not on board with what I'm saying, you need to get the fuck out of the community. You don't deserve the basic rights that we have as human beings, nor do you deserve the right to be a wrestling fan. Triple H being in control, this is not only going to present better shows, but according to Wade Keller of PW Torch, Kevin Dunn, he is not a Triple H guy. And it is unlikely that he'll be with WWE within a year. Again, now we can finally get all of the fucking trash, all of the idiocy from Bruce and Kevin Dunn and Ed Kotsky, John Lauder. We get it all out of there. Now it's time for a new regime. Now it's time for a new era. Now it's time for a new management team run by Triple H. And now, with Kevin Dunn gone, Bruce is gone, Vince is gone, Laurinaitis gone, this is going to create a much more stable, much more organized, and again, a much more fun backstage environment. Exactly what needs to happen. Not too many news and rumors this week. Obviously, we got SummerSlam tonight. We'll see how that plays out. I'm mildly looking forward to SummerSlam because I actually want to see what Triple H has in store as far as SummerSlam goes, and I actually do hope that it's going to be a very good show tonight. Again, I do believe that Triple H will be putting as much effort into the show as he possibly could, and I do believe that we could very well get a semi-decent show if he books it correctly. But those are your news, rumors, and reports for now. We are going to get into the weekly show reviews. We have a lot of weekly show material to dissect. We're going to get into it right now. Before we get into it, though, shout out to everyone in the chat. Once again, we have exactly 11 likes thus far. If you guys haven't liked the stream, please make sure you like the stream, and please make sure you're sharing it out on all platforms of social media. I want to see more people in here. I understand, people. I understand that we're not streaming across 6 different accounts and 4 different platforms, but I think we can do better than only 11 likes, okay? So let me see more. Let me see more people in the chat, and let me see more likes, okay? Raw. Like I said, Raw was not a great show by any means. But what we got was probably the best flowing Raw of the entire year. Triple H didn't really have too much time to work with. So he tried to make do with what he got, and we did get some semi-decent material on the show. We got a lot of pro wrestling on the show, and that's another thing. More pro wrestling. I watch my professional wrestling show for a professional wrestling company. This is a sport. If you're not going to treat it like the sport, get the fuck out of here. I saw that fucking interview with Peter Avalon on Chris Van Vliet's channel. I love Chris Van Vliet, but Peter Avalon's a fucking retard in more ways than one as well. I mean, he's an abortion supporter, so fuck Peter Avalon. Peter Avalon's a piece of shit. But Raw started off with a brawl. No entrances, no pyro, no theme music. Right at the top of the hour, the camera came in, and Miz and Logan Paul were brawling before the show even got officially started. Before officials came out to separate them, the crowd was chanting, "Let them fight." Small little details like this, small little detail changes like this is a great thing. More of this, please. The more of this, the better. So the Bloodline kicked off the show. He soaked in the booze, did Roman Reigns. He goes, "Madison Square Garden, acknowledge me." He goes, "I don't feel like talking anymore." So he gave the microphone to Heyman. Heyman welcomed everyone to the island of relevancy before his mic stopped working. And then he goes, "We have a sound guy that must be from New Jersey. You are the next one out the door." Heyman is fucking great. I love this. And this would have not been able to have been said, even if he's Paul Heyman. If Bruce and Vince were not in charge, no way. No chance in fucking hell that they would have allowed Heyman to say that. None. So, Heyman hyped up Reigns. Heyman ran down Lesnar's accomplishments before saying that he's looking to end the party for Roman Reigns. Heyman then said it's time for Lesnar to go back to Saskatchewan and slaughter a bunch of hogs. "My tribal chief cannot stand the sound of the name Brock Lesnar. And Lesnar, you won't be able to stand up at all." So Austin Theory came out. We heard the A-Town Down screaming out loud. A-Town Down, Futures right now. Talked about how funny it is that they're forgetting the most important detail about SummerSlam, meaning himself, because he's Mr. Money in the Bank. He talked about how he will be the new Universal WWE Champion. Roman then said, look, if you're going to come out here, at least step into the fucking ring and acknowledge your tribal chief. He goes, he's a little nervous. New York, take it easy on him. Wise man, well, we like him, right? So Roman's trying to butter up Theory a little bit. He goes, you got no clue what you're doing with that briefcase. Maybe you need a wise man. Here, I'll be your wise man. Look around and analyze the situation. Your daddy's not here anymore, said Roman Reigns. This is my ring. I run the garden now. The Usos then hit Theory in the back of the neck, just like a little smack in the back of the neck. Theory then attacked the Usos with the briefcase. Roman then came back in and backed the Usos off. This was great. This was actually great. And again, that small little minute detail with Roman Reigns saying, your daddy's not here anymore. That right there is a clear-cut indication that Triple H now is running the show. That would have never been able to have been said, even if Vince McMahon was back in charge. I mean, we're off to a semi-decent start, right? I didn't mind this at all. And then everything flowed very nicely. The storyline continuity, everything connected to each other. Coming back from commercial, Theory was still in the ring before Drew McIntyre came out, and we got a match. The biggest thing about this, we got SmackDown superstars now appearing on Raw. Brand split must be over. Good. Should have been over a while ago. After you fired 200 fucking people. So we get Drew McIntyre and Austin Theory. So Drew took the fight to Theory. He hit him with a stalling suplex. Theory tried to fight back. He chopped Drew to no avail, obviously, because Drew, obviously, is a mountain of a man. Drew then with some rapid-fire punches. Theory then got hit with a belly-to-belly suplex and a future shock DDT. Drew went for the Claymore, but Theory rolled to the floor. Theory was dropped onto the announce table coming back from commercial. Drew with a tilt-the-world backbreaker for a 2. Theory then sent Drew into the post and then into the steel steps. He went for the countout, but Drew made it back into the ring. After that, Drew with a nice vertical suplex. Theory and Drew traded strikes back and forth. Drew then mounted a comeback with a nice spine buster for a 2. The Brawling Brutes then came out, and they caused the DQ, and all 4 of them went after Drew before Bobby Lashley came out to attack, and him and Drew stood tall. This was a good match, very good match, actually, between Theory and Drew. So obviously they're playing that up, and they're continuing the storyline with Theory and Drew. So that could definitely be something that we could be looking out for down the line. I didn't mind this DQ. Normally I would, but for some reason I didn't mind this DQ because we got storyline continuity and this turning into a tag team match, which got a hefty amount of time here on Monday Night Raw. And the first hour flowed very, very nicely. So I did not mind this DQ. Normally I'd be shitting on this, but for some weird reason, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. So we get the tag team match, and we got a fun little tag team match right here. Not bad whatsoever. We got a fun little tag team match here between these 4 individuals. So Sheamus used his power against Drew with a nice Irish curse backbreaker. I love the Irish curse backbreaker. Drew then made the tag to Lashley. Some shoulder tackles in the corner. Nice stalling suplex to Sheamus. Very impressive by Mr. Bobby Lashley. We had a punt knee by Sheamus. Drew then tossed Butch. He caught Butch and tossed him in a belly-to-belly suplex into Ridge Holland. The ref then kicked them out. So we go to another commercial. Coming back, Lashley was isolated. He eventually got the tag to Drew. Drew took it to Theory with a belly-to-belly suplex and a neck breaker. Pop-up spine buster to Theory for a 2. Lashley then tagged himself in. He hit a spine buster to Theory. Sheamus came diving off the top with a diving knee to break up that pin. Sheamus then with the white noise to Drew on the floor. Theory then spotted Ziggler on the outside, but Ziggler did not get involved. He just stood there. Theory was distracted as he went for the 8-count down, and then Lashley caught him in the hurt lock to tap him out to win this fun little match. And I didn't mind this at all. Again, a very nice, very fluid, very straightforward hour. All action. All action, no rest period. I like that. I like that. Afterwards, Theory went up the ramp. The Usos were waiting for him, and they hit double super kicks to Theory. Roman then came out and placed the briefcase on Theory's chest, tapping it, saying, Theory, just make the right decision. That was it. Probably the best first hour that Monday Night Raw has had in God knows how long. This was probably the best first hour since that first hour all the way back on the November 1st, 2021 edition of Monday Night Raw, where we had that 45-minute match between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, which was great. So we had a great promo package for Rey Mysterio and his 20th anniversary celebration. We had a party in the back for the Mysterios and Rey Mysterio's 20th anniversary celebration in the WWE. They arrived in a big Cadillac Escalade, which looked great, by the way. Rey and Dominic then went to the ring. Rey took the mic. The crowd chanted, "Thank you, Rey." He talked about having his first match at 14 years old all the way to having a career in the WWE, how he became the world champion at WrestleMania 22. He wanted to thank a lot of his friends, Dean Malenko, Batista, Kurt Angle, Edge, and Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat. He said that he misses Eddie every day. He thanked Eddie, and he thanked everyone for all the support that he's been given over the course of the last 20 years. The crowd chanted, "You deserve it." He then thanked his family, told them that he loved them. He thanked everyone in MSG, and he's happy to be here in the Garden. And he addressed the crowd in Spanish to end the promo. Before Finn Balor and Damian Priest, they came through the crowd on opposite ends of the ring, very similar to what the Nexus used to do. So I actually like that little detail right there from the Judgment Day. It gave him a little bit more of an ominous presence. I actually like that. And we ended up getting a very good match for what it was between the Judgment Day and the Mysterios. No emotional investment. Let's be real here. No one gives a shit about these four. No one gives a shit about these four because they have been absolutely booked like shit. But the match itself wasn't bad at all. So Rey, with a roundhouse kick on Balor, nice head scissor takedown, a double Russian leg sweep. Dominic then powerbombed Rey onto Balor for a 2. Rey was then whipped into the buckle by Balor. He tagged in Priest. Priest wore down Rey. He tossed Rey with a broken arrow. Balor then tagged in. Rey then tagged in Dominic. Dominic had a crossbody on Balor. Tagged the Priest. Balor then was sent to the floor. Priest caught Dominic and slammed him into the barricade. Coming back from commercial, Dominic then was worn down before he tagged in his father, Rey. He had a springboard crossbody on Damian Priest, a big seated senton. That got him a 2 count. Priest then with a super kick for a 2. Rey countered the Razor's Edge. He went for the 619, but Balor hit a wicked fucking lariat. Shotgun drop kick. The coup de grace connected, but Dominic just barely saved the match. Priest then went for a chair. Priest caused the distraction, and Balor tried to pull an Eddie Guerrero, but Dominic helped out his father, Rey, and distracted. He distracted the referee. So the ref was distracted by Dominic, and Rey threw the chair back at Balor, and he pulled the Eddie Guerrero. Balor's then trying to plead his case to the referee. No, it's not me. It wasn't me. Rey and Dominic then hit the double 619. Rey hit a frog splash on Balor, and Rey and Dominic get the win in a very good match. Afterwards, this was actually a pretty decent segment right here. Rhea Ripley returned. Rhea Ripley returned wearing the classic Eddie Guerrero "I'm Your Papi" shirt. And what happened was she caused the distraction. Dominic was then dragged by his hair out into the hallway. They were then ambushed by the Judgment Day. This was actually probably the best thing about the entire segment right here. Finn Balor was then dragging Rey Mysterio, and Finn Balor just yelled, "It's not your anniversary, it's my birthday." I don't know why I found that funny, but I found it funny. So they dragged Rey, and they dragged Dominic. Dominic was taken out, and then Rey was then powerbombed through a table, and the Judgment Day stood tall, obviously leading into the big tag team match that we have tonight between the Judgment Day and the Mysterios on SummerSlam. No DQ match again. Not bad. Not bad. It's serious, and All these four men are great at what they do, but again, no one cares. If you're telling me you care, you're lying to me. You're fucking lying. No one cares. The feud is dead. The feud is fucking dead. And no one is going to give a shit about Dominic joining Judgment Day anyway. Nobody is. Be real here. Be real. One thing that people hate me for is that I'm real. What I'm saying is truth. You don't like it, not my problem. I don't give a shit. Either way. Either way. So we got that match tonight. Should be decent. Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair then came out. Bianca Belair came out before she could even speak, though. Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch came out looking as ridiculous as ever. Becky Lynch continues to look like a great value Lady Gaga. She looks terrible out there. So Becky, she was trying to get some words out, but Bianca kept interrupting her and explaining why she was the EST. She ran down all these roughest, toughest, quickest, the best. She was then punched down by Becky. We got a big brawl. Becky then pulled Bianca over the ropes by her braid. The brawl then spilled out over the announce table, and the officials finally came out to separate them. Obviously, let me tell you something. The less that these two women are talking, the better, because Bianca, her promos are terrible as a babyface. I'd like to hope that they'll be a little bit more organic under Triple H. And Becky, forget about Becky. Becky is just fucking atrocious in every sense of the word. So, after this, we got Alexa Bliss and Doudrop. This was terrible. Easily, probably the worst thing on the show was Alexa Bliss and Doudrop. Why? Because Alexa Bliss fucking sucks. Alexa Bliss, you know, according to reports, let me see if I got it. According to reports, Alexa Bliss is not happy with her current character. She was interviewed by MetroCo.uk. Bliss said that her current character is too close to who she is in real life, and she hasn't found a creative escape yet, like she did with the previous characters, and the end result isn't very entertaining. Well, let me tell you something. I'm glad, Lexi, I'm glad that you're acknowledging that your character on TV sucks, but let me tell you something. Doesn't matter what character you play, you suck. No matter if you're a heel, no matter if you're a babyface, no matter if you are wrestling Asuka, no matter if you're wrestling Doudrop, you suck. You know what's my favorite character that Alexa Bliss played? When she's like John Cena and we can't see her. That's what I want Alexa. I would like Alexa Bliss to play the role of John Cena where he's not on TV and we can't see her. That's what I want Alexa Bliss to do. Get her off of TV. Again, I don't want to be a prick. Well, that's actually a lie. I do want to be a prick, and I'm going to be a prick. I honestly wish Alexa Bliss would legitimately get fired. I'm sorry. I know I say I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but if Alexa Bliss were to get fired, I would not bat an eye. I really would not bat an eyelash. Go to Impact. Go to NWA. Go to MLW. No one watches that shit anyway. No one cares about those three promotions anyway, so at least you would be shitting up a storm in a women's division that no one gives a shit about. But I actually give a shit about the WWE women's division, and I don't want Lexi Kaufman shitting up a storm there. I don't care. Send it to her fans. I hope that they cry and cry so that way I can drink their tears in this nice ice-cold mug. Alexa Bliss gets the win with a tornado DDT, which did not look good. Alexa Bliss sucks dick, and I'm not talking about Ryan Cabreras. Logan Paul hosted Impulsive TV. He was wearing a nice black suit. Didn't look bad at all, did Logan Paul. Logan Paul said it's like Miz TV, but people actually watch. I don't think anyone's watching Raw for Impulsive TV. You're not bad. Well, let me tell you something, Logan Paul. You're not bad at what you do when it comes to being on WWE TV. You were almost bred for the WWE. But no one's watching Raw for Impulsive TV. So Paul called out Miz. Miz didn't come out. Maurice then ended up coming out. I would have much rather preferred if Maurice came out dressed like how she was when she posed for Playboy in 2006. That's the only reason why anyone cares for Maurice. So she got in Paul's face. She said she doesn't appreciate him talking about her man's package. She then did the Miz's phrase, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. No one gives a shit. Miz then finally came out saying that he measures his testicles. Yes, the Miz came out saying that he measures his testicles. I kid you not. So, Miz says Paul knows everything taught to him by him. I taught you everything that you know, but I didn't teach you everything that I know. At SummerSlam, you're going to get big moment Miz, beating John Cena Miz. I'm sorry, Miz, but I have not seen that Miz in about 4 to 5 years. That Miz hasn't been prominent ever since your feud with Bryan Danielson. So, Paul then told the Miz to shut up. Maurice tried to hit the mic out of Logan Paul's hand. It didn't work. Paul then said Maurice has bigger balls than her husband. Ciampa then came out and he attacked Logan Paul. They both attacked Logan Paul with Miz hitting Logan Paul with a skull-crushing finale, and that was it. This was fucking bad. This was bad. And I mean bad. Logan Paul and The Miz are usually very good on the microphone, but adding Maurice in there, Maurice just needs to stand there and look pretty. Maurice should not have a microphone in her hand. Go and take care of your fucking kids, please. And as far as Ciampa goes, I hope to fucking God that they end this partnership. Have Ciampa turn on The Miz or Miz turn on Ciampa, whatever the fuck you want to do, and have Ciampa go into Clash at the Castle and beat The Miz. Ciampa needs to be built up as a top-tier babyface and have him take the U.S. title off of Bobby Lashley. That's where Ciampa needs to be. So, we then go into a tag team match with AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler versus the Alpha Academy. This wasn't bad, but again, after that Miz segment, after Impulsive TV and Alexa Bliss and Doudrop, these two teams, no matter how good they are, they were not going to top anything, and they were not going to get the crowd reinvested. Those two segments just fucked up the entire flow of the show. So Gable got on the mic and he talked about how New York will collapse under the weight of human garbage. Chad Gable's great. And how Ziggler and Styles remind them of the New York Knicks. Love Chad Gable. A thank you. A thank you. So Styles came in with a phenomenal forearm to Chad Gable at the beginning of this match. We then had Otis wearing down Styles before Ziggler tagged in. Ziggler caught an O'Connor roll German suplex by Chad Gable. Super kick by Dolph. Phenomenal forearm and a Pele kick to Otis. Ziggler then won the match with a zigzag, and that was it. We then go into the main event with Matt Riddle and the Street Profits versus the Bloodline. This was a very fun tag team match. Ford took over with a huge tope con hero on the Usos. Coming back from a commercial, Roman came in and he took the fight to Matt Riddle. He tagged in Montez. He lit up Jey Uso. We had a nice lariat tag to Roman. Roman hit Montez Ford with a Uranagi. That got a 2 count. Montez Ford was busted open. Busted open. Really good stuff right here. I like the blood on Montez Ford's nostrils right there. He's bleeding from his nose. It gave a sense of realistic feel. Coming back from another commercial, Ford was then isolated before Roman came back with a drive-by. Ford got the tag to Riddle. He lit up Jimmy and Jay. We had a final flash to Jay. Exploders for both Jimmy and Jay. Brotons for the Usos. A springboard floating bro. Matt Riddle then with a power slam on Jimmy. Roman came in with a Superman punch. Riddle kicked out. We had a Pescado by Ford taking out Jey Uso. Tope Suicida by Jimmy. Dawkins then pounced the Usos over the barricade. Roman then sent Dawkins into the steps. Riddle with a draping DDT. The RKO was countered. And Roman hit a spear, 1, 2, 3, and Roman Reigns gets the victory. So, pretty decent stuff right here. Fun match. And then afterwards, Seth Rollins came out. Rollins got in Roman's face before attacking Riddle. He bashed Riddle with the steps. He delivered a stomp on the floor, then put Riddle on the steps and delivered a stomp to Riddle on the steps. Apparently, Riddle suffered a stinger. He suffered a stinger, and Riddle is not medically cleared to compete at SummerSlam. So it looks like we are going to be getting a different match. Now, I don't know what match we are exactly getting. I'm not sure what they have planned. Could we see an NXT superstar get called up? I certainly would not mind that. I would love to see it. I would love to see possibly Gunther get a match against Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship. Maybe we see Styles. Maybe we see Rollins get added to the World Championship match. Some people have even been predicting Bray Wyatt. I actually think it's a good thing that we don't know, because now it actually creates a sense of excitement, a sense of unpredictability. And that is sorely needed, especially on a show like this that has been built up and booked as poorly as it has. Not a good show. Not a good show is Raw, but the changes are slowly starting to be felt. The change is here. Now it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game to see the changes gradually grow. It's all a ripple effect. We start with the small ripple, and it just expands and expands out. We need to wait for those ripples to expand. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit, but I'm sure we're going to be able to get it sooner rather than later. That was Monday Night Raw. I appreciate everyone that's stopping by in the chat right now. We have 15 likes so far. That's not bad. That's not bad. Shout out to Raphael. Shout out to DJ Sums, Earl Cole, Adam Carl, Mackenzie TV. Shout out to you as well. Here's what I want y'all to do, people. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like button and please share out the stream on all platforms of social media. I want to see if we can at least get to 20 likes. We still got a couple more shows to talk about, and we're going to jump right into NXT. Really nothing changed. It wasn't terrible, but really not a show that you're going to go back and rewatch. But again, people, please, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you're sharing it out. So far, we've been having a decent stream thus far. Everything has flowed very, very nicely. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And obviously, Hardcore Sports, they're currently working on getting everything back in shape as far as the StreamYard goes. We will keep you updated on that, which is why I'm not streaming on the Hardcore Sports channel right now, because of the glitch that is currently going on. Let's talk about NXT, shall we? Let's talk about NXT. Again, very lackluster show. Not a show you're going to go back and rewatch. We did get some decent material on the show, but overall, it was just a very lukewarm, very lackluster, very typical episode of NXT. We have 16 likes. Good shit. We had 16 likes. 4 more until 20. So the show kicked off with Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark, she took the mic. She said that she never knew if she would feel this moment again. The doctors told her that she would be out for well over a year, but I knew I could beat that timetable, and I got to work. The crowd chanted for Zoe. I got back 4 months ahead of schedule, and that noise that you guys made when I came out, it made all of it worth it. And I'm going to take that NXT Women's Championship from Mandy Rose. So Cora Jade then came out. She was on top of the podium that was behind Zoe Stark. She talked about how Zoe Stark stole her moment. Zoe Stark then called Cora Jade a piece of trash. Beep, 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 beep. No lies detected. No lies detected. Cora Jade is a piece of trash. And I'm not just saying that because she blocked me. I'm saying it because she is a legitimate piece of trash. She can't wrestle, and she's a fucking dumbass as a human being. She's stupid. Cora Jade is a piece of trash. So Zoe Stark dropping some truth right there. If you guys didn't already know, Cora Jade is a piece of trash. So Toxic Attraction then came out. Mandy Rose then said that she'll be the 4th longest reigning women's champion in NXT history. Stark then challenged Mandy to the match tonight. Gigi Dolan then stepped up, and she challenged Stark. The promos, I'm not sure if you guys noticed this, but this was another one of those subtle changes. The promo felt a little bit more organic. I didn't mind what they did here with Zoe Stark, Cora Jade, and Toxic Attraction. It felt a little bit more organic, and it flowed a little bit better. So after that, we have Grayson Waller and Wes Lee. Got a decent little match here between these two. Wes Lee was in early control before Lee hit a super kick. Coming back from commercial, Waller was in control. Waller with a fireman's carry spinebuster for a 2. Waller then toyed with Wes Lee. Lee then mounted a comeback, some stiff chops and jabs, a running bulldog, and a Lope suicida through the bottom rope. Lee then went up to the top. Waller shoved him off the top. Trick Williams came up from behind Lee wearing this hood and a couple boxing gloves. Grayson Waller had the ref tied up. Trick Williams knocked the shit out of Wes Lee, punching him right in the neck. Wes Lee goes down. Wes Lee just beat the count, but it was not enough as Grayson Waller hit the roll-through stunner, and Waller wins. Pretty decent match. So it looks like they're continuing that feud between Wes Lee and Trick Williams for the time being. Now, Grayson Waller, he's not doing that bad. Grayson Waller is not doing too bad for himself. So, Grayson Waller, hey, he keeps on doing what he's doing. Keeps on doing what he's doing. I'm liking it. He knows how to get heat, and he can wrestle. So, shout out to Grayson Waller. He's not doing too bad for himself whatsoever. Zion Quinn took on Apollo Crews. This was a decent little match, probably Zion Quinn's best match in NXT to date. So Apollo Crews was in control. We had Apollo Crews coming in with a drop kick right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, Apollo Crews with a drop kick. We had a nice body slam and a tope atomico for a 2 by Crews. Quinn then took over. He wore down Apollo Crews. Crews then tried to fight back. Quinn shut him down quickly. Crews then came back with an enziguri, a leaping lariat, stinger splash, and a big slam for a 2. Crews then went up top. He had a big crossbody on Zion Quinn. Quinn came back with a Death Valley driver for a 2. We had an enziguri by Crews, a backstabber, and then a spine buster. So it was one move right after the other, and we ended up seeing Apollo Crews get the victory here. Decent little match. If I'm booking this, I'm having Apollo Crews take the championship off of Carmelo Hayes. That's me. That's just me, because I think Apollo Crews is doing some excellent fucking work. And out of everyone, if you're really going to push Apollo Crews hard, give him the North American Championship. Let's see what Apollo Crews can do with the North American Championship. So if I was WWE, I'd give that title to Apollo Crews. Zoe Stark and Gigi Dolan. This went 3 minutes. Really nothing special. Zoe Stark hit the back suplex into the GTS for the win. Stark stood tall. Toxic Attraction tried to attack. Cora Jade came in to attack Stark, but Roxanne Perez made her return, and Cora Jade ran off. So, looks like they're building towards Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade at a future event, which I'm guessing is probably going to be NXT Heatwave, which is taking place in about 3 weeks. JD McDonough, or JD McDonough, as they're calling him. It's not JD McDonough, it's JD McDonough. It's a little bit better, but still, unnecessary name change. He was actually in the crowd. He had a microphone. This was actually pretty interesting what he did right here. He was sitting in the crowd. He introduced himself to all of the NXT universe, and he was trashing people as he was walking through the crowd. He was trashing some guy eating popcorn, saying Americans can die from scoffing down popcorn and choking on it. He then talked to the timekeeper. He took the hammer. And he talked about the timekeeper. He's got to swing it carefully or he could break some fingers. He actually said Alicia Taylor has a fabulous voice as well, which she does. She also has a fabulous figure. So shout out to Alicia Taylor. He said that he's a fan of Wade Barrett, and then he manipulated his joints. Just being a dick. Just being a dick is Jordan Devlin, which I love. Vic Joseph was next. JD said that he could break a lot of bones in his body since he probably broke a lot of bones as a kid, but don't worry, he's not going to do that. So he came to the ring, and then he said, you're going to get real acclimated. Or did Braun Breaker say that? My apologies. So Devlin McDonough wanted to introduce himself to Breaker. So Breaker came out. He said, you're going to get real acclimated with Braun Breaker, and you're not going to like it. So JD tried for a cheap shot before Breaker struck back, and he stood his ground. JD McDonough fell to the mat, and he smiled. So it looks like we're getting that match for the NXT Championship at NXT Heatwave. Maybe this is me just being a Jordan Devlin mark, but I would give the championship to Jordan Devlin, or JD McDonough, as they're calling him. I would absolutely have Jordan Devlin win it, because Jordan Devlin's fucking great. He's fucking awesome at what he does. What's not awesome, I'll tell you what's not awesome, the fact that we're getting a fatal four-way match next week to crown new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. This is a major step back. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit what you do. Women's Tag Team Championships do not work. Unless it's fucking Stardom, I don't want to see Women's Tag Team Championships, because every set of Women's Tag Team Championships have been treated like shit. AEW shouldn't have them. MLW shouldn't have them. Impact shouldn't have them. WWE shouldn't have them. No promotion needs Women's Tag Team Championships. There are no fucking tag teams. This is a major step back. Cora Jade should have left that title in the fucking trash. Roxanne should have thrown the title in the trash with Cora Jade. It's not fucking necessary. Why do we still have them? I don't know. Get rid of the fucking Women's Tag Team Championships, both on NXT and the main roster. They are worthless. Get rid of them. Andre Chase. Andre Chase took on Giovanni Vinci. Chase U, this is a teachable moment. Let me tell you something. You have a lot more teachable moments with DJ Storms than you do with Andre Chase. I'm just letting you know. You don't need Andre Chase for a teachable moment. All you need is DJ Storms. You also don't need maximum male models to titillate the juices of your guilty pleasure. DJ Storms can titillate your juices just fine. Your juices won't just be titillated. Your juices will be absolutely boiled by DJ Storms, because I'm just that fucking good. So Giovanni Vinci and Andre Chase, this was not a bad match, but Chase is a comedy clown. He is. He's a comedy dork. He's a fucking chump. He's a legit comedy chump. Get rid of this fucking gimmick. You know what? I'm not even going to mind the gimmick that much. What I fucking hate is the fact that he wrestles in fucking bowling shoes and a sweater vest. Put him in normal fucking wrestling gear. Stop having him wrestle in bowling shoes and a fucking Chase U sweater vest, and then maybe I will start taking him a little bit more seriously. He's a comedy dork. Get rid of that fucking ridiculous attire that he wrestles in. For real. The match itself wasn't bad, though. So Vinci, like the dick he is, I'm actually liking what Giovanni Vinci is doing, or Fabian Eichner. I'm actually liking what Eichner's doing. Vinci snapped Chase U's flag. He snapped Chase U's flag. Chase did not take too kindly to that. Coming back from commercial, Chase with a back suplex. He delivered the Chase U stomps. The crowd was hyped up for Chase U. Vinci then with a stalling brainbuster. Chase kicked out. Chase then with a very nice tiger bomb. Vinci kicked out. Vinci then won the match with the spinning power bomb. 1, 2, 3. Vinci gets the victory, rightfully so. I'm liking what they're doing with Giovanni Vinci. I think what they got going on with Giovanni Vinci, very, very good. Shout out to Further AM and Alan Holland Jr. Alan, I actually did do a SummerSlam prediction show. I did it on Thursday, but there was an issue with the Hardcore Sports channel, and apparently the StreamYard for Hardcore Sports completely deleted everything. However, I'm having the Hardcore Sports administration members work on that as we speak. So hopefully we'll be able to recover it. If not, unfortunately, it is what it is. So Indy Hartwell, she took on Ariana Grace. Hartwell mainly led this match. She got very good over the last year. So shout out to Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell is actually probably one of the most bearable acts in the women's division. Hartwell got the win here. Pretty much it. Further AM and Alan Holland Jr. If you haven't liked the video, please make sure you like the video. Make sure you like the video. We got 17 likes so far. I want to see if we can get to 20. Main event of NXT was Diamond Mine versus the D'Angelo family. Fun little match. Really nothing you're going to go back and rewatch. D'Angelo is getting more fluid in the ring. D'Angelo could easily be called up to the main Raw. D'Angelo is very good. So coming back from commercial, we had Damon Kemp, which, by the way, I actually got to shout out Damon Kemp too. Damon Kemp is actually in a very good role on NXT. Damon Kemp, I actually don't mind him. He doesn't necessarily make the show better. He doesn't necessarily make the show worse. But Damon Kemp can wrestle. And that's all I really ask for. So Damon Kemp, he ain't too bad for himself. He's not that bad at all. I think that if they actually develop some character for him, he could be a solid act. Not saying he's going to be a world champion, but he could be a solid act. So Damon Kemp came in with some nice suplexes and takedowns. I actually like what he's doing. He was then isolated. Julius Creed got the tag with some rolling slams and suplexes. We had a nice superplex on Joaquin Wilde, German suplex on D'Angelo for a 2 count. Everyone was taking out everyone. The D'Angelo family ended up getting the win with D'Angelo hitting the forget about it, which is a swinging fisherman neckbreaker, and D'Angelo gets the win. Looks like the D'Angelo family could very well be in contention for the NXT Tag Team titles, possibly at NXT Heatwave against the Creed brothers. So we'll see how that match goes. I actually think that Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza or Cruz del Toro could put on a very good match with the Creeds. That was NXT. Really nothing that anyone's going to go back and rewatch, but I covered it. You've noticed the small little changes. The changes are coming. The shows are flowing a lot better. Trust me, we will be getting more changes as time goes on, but I don't expect anything at least until after the Survivor Series. Nothing major until after the Survivor Series. The Survivor Series is going to be really interesting because the brand split's pretty much over. We got 18 likes, people. That's what I like to see. 18 likes, 2 more until we get to 20. Nice, decent turnout for the stream, even though we're not streaming across 4 different platforms and 6 different accounts. I think we could get a little more people in here. Share it out. Make sure that everyone's in. Share it out to any groups and chats that you might be available in. AEW Dark this week. I did not take any notes on AEW Dark -1 match, mainly because of the fact that, again, I fucking hate the format for Dark. AEW Dark and Dark Elevation has the worst format in the entire wrestling industry right now. I cannot stand the 12, 13, 14 enhancement matches. You know what we need to do? We need to have Dark and Dark Elevation be must-see television. We need to have Dark and Dark Elevation be extensions from Dynamite and Rampage and treat them as if they're extra hours of TV time. Cut the fucking 12 enhancement matches. The shows need to be an hour or less. An hour or less with 4 matches, 4 competitive matches between people that are already associated with the company. And then they need to have the major stars on there, have them cut promos, have them build legitimate feuds over the course of X amount of weeks on Dark and Dark Elevation. We do not need 20 enhancement matches per Dark. What they did with Pac and LJ Cleary, that's what we need. Because this was a very good match. And I love how they're showcasing Pac's All-Atlantic Championship title defenses on AEW Dark. I actually hope that we see him at All Out too. I did not know anything about LJ Cleary. This is the first time I'm ever seeing LJ Cleary. Wasn't too bad. He wasn't too bad. I actually liked what he could do. This was at Over the Top Wrestling in Ireland. So Pac was in early control. Pac was pretty much leading this match because Pac is a ring general. Cleary came back with a leg lariat. Pac then regained control with a missile drop kick, some stiff kicks to the chest. Cleary mounted a comeback with some stiff chops, a spin kick as well. He then delivered a leaping lariat and a leaping stomp to the back for a 2. Cleary then went for a springboard drop kick. He got it. He hit an Ushi-Garoshi for a 2. Some stiff strikes by Pac. We had a super kick by Cleary, and both men were down. So both men are down. Afterwards, Pac went up to the top. He went for the Black Arrow. Cleary rolled to the apron. Cleary came back with a big superplex. Big Tope Con Hero to the floor. Then, this was a great fluid motion right here. He delivers a Canadian Destroyer off the middle rope, goes to the other side of the ring, and delivers a second one from that side of the ring's middle rope. Pac just kicked out. Great near fall. Pac then ended up locking in the Brutalizer, and just like that, it was over. LJ Cleary taps out to the Brutalizer, and Pac successfully retains the All-Atlantic Championship. Let's get Pac on All Out, and let's have him fight someone like a Dante Martin, or someone from New Japan Pro Wrestling, maybe someone from Impact. Let's see him fight a Ricky Starks. Let's see him fight potentially maybe Lee Johnson if he's not injured. Not really sure where Lee Johnson's been. Let's see what we can do there. I want to see Pac more on Dynamite. But I like what they're doing with Pac and the All-Atlantic Championship, showcasing his matches on AEW Dark. I'm very happy that they have been showcasing these matches where people can see him, because Pac, he's great. 2 successful title defenses, 2 very good matches. I like what they're doing with Pac. I'll tell you what I also like, AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite, Fight for the Fallen. Very good show. Very good flowing show. We're going to talk about it. Once again, shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys have been great. You guys have been awesome. 2 more likes, and then we will have reached 20. So, if you can, please make sure you're sharing out the stream. Please make sure you're getting as many people in here as possible. I want to see how much we can get, even with the fact that we're not streaming live on Hardcore Sports. So, Fight for the Fallen. Very good show. Really, really, really good show here. We got Jon Moxley and Rush, El Toro Blanco, the White Bull. Jon Moxley and Rush started off the show. This was a great fucking match. Excellent fucking match. Rush, and I'm very happy that people are starting to see how good Rush really is. I am loving what Rush is doing. This was fucking amazing. If you did not watch this match, you got to go out of your way to watch it. It went 18 minutes. It was fucking awesome. So Rush attacked Moxley right out of the gate. Rush then busted Moxley open early. He took Moxley's blood from his head and smeared it on his chest as if it was some fucking battle mark. So Moxley came back with a tope suicida. He then suplexed Rush on the floor. Rush then choked out Moxley with the cable wire behind the referee's back. Coming back from commercial, Moxley came in with a superplex to Rush. Moxley came back with a couple of Germans. Rolling elbow by Rush. King Kong lariat by Moxley. Snap German by Rush. Both men were down. We had a crossface by Rush. Moxley with the stomps to the face. Rush then with the belly-to-belly into the buckle. Andrade came out. He then shoved Moxley off the top behind the referee's back. Then we had the Lucha Bros. Lucha Bros coming on out, and the Lucha Bros chased away Andrade from ringside. Rush then got clotheslined out of his fucking boots. Rush then came back with a fucking straitjacket pile driver, which looked fucking ridiculous. Moxley kicked out. Moxley hit the Death Rider. Rush kicked out. Moxley then locked in the Bulldog choke, and Rush was protected in defeat. He did not tap, and he did not get pinned. He passed out. Jon Moxley retains the AEW Interim World Championship in a great fucking match. A match that I would definitely recommend all of you go back and rewatch. The Jericho Appreciation Society then came out. Jericho had a mic. Angelo Parker told the AEW Galaxy to appreciate them. I love Angelo Parker. Jericho then congratulated Moxley, but he said that the JAS is on a roll. He hyped up every member of the group. Jericho said that he beat Eddie Kingston. The crowd chanted for Eddie. He then promised to beat Moxley. And after 2.5 years, he wants his rematch for the AEW World title in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, we have AEW Quake by the Lake. I believe it's in Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere in Michigan. Quake by the Lake. And Jon Moxley happily accepted it. He said that he hated Chris. Moxley then said that he's a 2-time world champion. Fuck the interim. In your own way, you are the GOAT, but this is the championship in pro wrestling. So if you got the balls, leave the sports entertainment bullshit at home. I want the guy from Super J Cup. I want the Lionheart. It will be Jon Moxley versus the last survivor of the Hart family dungeon, Chris Jericho. This was a great promo. Great promo. Anna Jay actually got a chance to speak too. She sounded like a fucking banshee screaming out there. So hopefully Jericho is working with Anna Jay on her promos. But as far as Jericho and Moxley go, very good promo. And it looks like we're getting these two for the World Championship. And Jericho's getting his rematch. Cool. I like it. See how that works out. Also, the Trios Championships have been unveiled. A tournament will begin soon. First champions will be crowned at All Out 2022. Excellent. Excuse me. This is excellent. Trios Championships, this is going to open up the door for so many opportunities, especially considering we got a shit ton of trios in the Trios Tag Team division. We got Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. We got the Gun Club. We got House of Black. We got Blackpool Combat Club. Undisputed Elite. We could very well have Hangman and the Young Bucks. They've been teasing that. Or Omega and the Young Bucks. We got the Dark Order out there. We got the Butcher and the Blade and Angelico. Let's get Bandito and put Bandito or Dragon Lee with Rush and Andrade. And there you go. I like it. Should be great. Cannot wait. Danhausen, very nice, very evil. Danhausen, he took on Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship. Crowd was on fire for Danhausen, actually, but this did not last very well. Danhausen did look good here. He delivered a punt boot by Danhausen to Ricky Starks. Then he delivered a Northern Lights suplex for a 2. Pretty decent stuff right there. Starks wasted no time, and Starks won with the spear. 1, 2, 3. Quick and easy, in and out. Danhausen did the job that he needed to do. So Starks then took the mic and said that Danhausen is not absolute. He wanted another challenge. All of a sudden, lights go out and we get Hook coming out. Where are the hookers? The hookers had a great fucking time. On Wednesday, that's for sure. Hook came out to what was the biggest pop of the night up until he actually won the championship. Crowd fucking popped like nuts. The match was made official. Hook went right after Starks with a nice T-bone suplex. Hook then got back suplexed by Starks. Starks then hit a spear. He went for the Rochambeau, and the crowd was on fire for the 3 minutes that this went. Rochambeau countered into the Red Rum, and Starks taps out, and Hook, he got what was the biggest pop of the fucking night. Hook wins the FTW Championship. This was a great fucking moment, and this was booked perfectly. Exactly what needed to happen. Everything bled into one another. Hook is now the FTW champion, and now Hook is going to win that. Is going to hold that championship. He already won the title. He's going to hold that title, and he's really going to make that title into a must-see act. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Hook does with that championship. Hook and the booking of Hook has been perfect. Tony Khan has made Hook into a fucking superstar at how old? 22? Not even? 23? Not even? It's ridiculous. And this is what I love. AEW creates new stars. So Tony Schiavone, he interviewed Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks talked about bringing the FTW back to prominence. Really good promo. He talked about, oh, his time's going to come. His time's going to come. No, my goddamn time is right now. Crowd was getting behind this guy like I've never seen before. All of a sudden, Hobbs absolutely fucking decks Ricky Starks with a clothesline from behind and delivers the last will and testament, a.k.a. the big spine buster. Crowd booed the shit out of him. This is going to be a great thing because now these two guys are going to be right there to be challenging for the mid-card championships. Hobbs, if they want to, Hobbs could very well take that TNT championship from Wardlow. And Ricky Starks, I see Ricky Starks as a potential contender for Pac. Have Ricky Starks take the championship off of Pac when the time's right. I would not mind it at all. I love this. It's a great thing. It's not too soon. These guys are better separately. Now, I would have loved to see him become tag team champions, but I do have a feeling that they're going to succeed just fine as singles guys. Very good heel turn right here. Loving it. So from there, we go into Sammy Guevara and Dante Martin. We had a very fun match here between these two. The future is looking bright for All Elite Wrestling. Sammy being a prick as per usual. I've been loving Sammy Guevara's heel run thus far. Dante Martin then mocked Sammy's pose. He did the I'm crazy thing, and then he did the tranquilo pose that Sammy does. Dante backflipped off the ropes as Sammy slid back into the ring, and he stood face-to-face, eye-to-eye with Sammy. Very nice moment right there. Dante then took Sammy out to the ramp. He delivered a huge tope con hero off the ramp onto Sammy. Coming back from commercial, Dante with a dive. Sammy caught him with a huge knee. We had a standing Spanish fly by Sammy for a 2. Dante then with a backwards exploding suplex for a 2. Dante then with a standing Spanish fly for a 2. Spinning full Nelson slam. Sammy kicked out again. Sammy, he targeted the injured knee of Dante Martin. Now, I'm not sure if Dante was just selling or if this was a legitimate knee injury. I actually hope that if it is legit, it's not as serious as we think it is. But Sammy took advantage of the injury, and Sammy delivered a beautiful springboard cutter onto Mr. Dante Martin, and then the go to hospital for the win. Very fun match. That was pretty much that. Anna Jay and Ty Conti then came out and assaulted Sky Blue before Eddie Kingston Ortiz and Ruby Soho came out to help. I would definitely not mind if we see Eddie Kingston versus Sammy Guevara at All Out. I think that would be a fantastic fucking match. Tony Schiavone interviewed Jungle Boy, and Jungle Boy came out with Luchasaurus. Now, I know some people are still questioning what's going on with Luchasaurus. I want you guys to pay attention here. Luchasaurus is still wearing all black. He's still wearing all black, and he hasn't uttered a word. You know what that is right there? That is top-tier indication that this is all a ploy. And we're going to get the match at All Out, but at the end of the day, Jungle Boy is inevitably going to look like a fool. He's being played. And Luchasaurus is going to stab Jungle Boy in the back. It's going to be great. So, Jungle Boy called Christian Cage the biggest pussy he's ever met. He then said Christian is now the most relevant he's ever been. Christian latched on to us because he was strapped for cash because his wife divorced him. Love it. Schiavone then asked, what about Luchasaurus? So Cage needed someone to protect him, just like all the bad guys with turtlenecks and small pricks. What do you think happened to the wife? Jungle Boy was on fucking fire. He goes, whatever you do, I can take it. Christian Cage then came up on the monitor and said that he told Luchasaurus that he made a mistake. And then he reminded Jungle Boy's, he reminded him that he's Jungle Boy's lapdog. I was scared of what I was going to do to you. You ain't seen nothing yet. The next thing I place on you is going to be a body bag when I place you right next to your father 6 feet under. You told me all your secrets, and now I'm going to prey on them. This was phenomenal. This may be the best program in all of AEW right now. This is brilliant. What we have here is Christian being an absolute dick. Luchasaurus is going to be the X factor in this, and Jungle Boy is going to be perhaps the biggest babyface in all of AEW right now. It's amazing. Absolutely brilliant. Young Bucks ran into Adam Page when they were asked by Brandon, or as Kyle O'Reilly calls him, Landon. I actually prefer Landon over Brandon, just because Kyle O'Reilly's great. It's like the Bucks and Adam Page, they're going to have a pretty interesting vibe. Could we see Adam Page and the Dark Order teaming up to fight in the Trios Tag Team division, potentially against the Bucks and Kenny Omega? I don't know. We got Swerve. Whose house? Swerve's house. We got Swerve Strickland. He took on Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling in a handicap match. The match was not terrible, but it was undoubtedly the worst thing on the show. Nese was sent into Sterling before Sterling came in. We had a double stomp by Swerve to Nese. Swerve won with the house call to Sterling. But the big thing that happened, Swerve looked good, but the big thing that happened was they panned to the backstage area. Keith Lee was laid out backstage by Josh Woods. Josh Woods laid out Keith Lee, and Tony Nese and Sterling, they laid out Mr. Swerve. So Josh Woods, Nese, and Sterling were scouting, and Nese and Woods then held up the title. So it looks like Tony Nese and Josh Woods could very well be a tag team going forward. I love that. Tony Nese is great, but he's not going anywhere as a singles guy, at least not now. So pairing him with Josh Woods and having them in the tag team division, this is a great fucking thing because now it gives these two something to do. It gives them an opportunity against Swerve and Lee for the tag team titles. We could possibly see a Battle of the Belts part number 3. Not bad. I like it. I like it. We had Miyu Yamashita. Miyu Yamashita, she took on Thunder Rosa. This was for the AEW Women's World Championship. It was a very good match right here. Pretty solid stuff right here. I don't mind Miyu Yamashita. I think she's pretty decent. Now, if they would develop some character for her and develop some reason for us to care about her, I would appreciate that. But this was a very physical match. Really enjoyed what these two women can do. Very smooth. So we start out very technical with some arm drags, some swift counters, and near falls. Both women then were out on the apron. Miyu Yamashita with a sweep of the legs, sweeping Thunder Rosa out on the apron. She then delivered a shotgun dropkick to Thunder Rosa, taking out Miyu Yamashita. Rosa then tried to throw Yamashita back into the ring, but Yamashita came in with an enziguri off of the apron. Coming back from commercial, Rosa with a stunner, corner lariat, Meteora, and a hesitation dropkick. Second one against the ropes to follow. We had a Northern Lights suplex for a 2 count. Yamashita with a nasty-looking fucking roundhouse kick. I would not want to be in the receiving end of Yamashita strikes. So they traded strikes back and forth. We had some big boots and strikes. We had a deadlift suplex by Yamashita for a 2. Yamashita then with another stiff kick. Rosa grabbed the rope. Both women traded strikes again before Rosa hit the Fire Thunder driver, and Rosa retains the AEW Women's World Championship in a very physical match. It looks like we could very well see Jamie Hayter on the horizon for a match with Miss Rosa, which I do not mind. I think that would be a great fucking match. We'll see what happens next week with the Thunderstorm versus Hayter and Britt combination. I could definitely see Jamie Hayter getting the victory in that match by pinning Toni Storm, and we could potentially see a match between Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter, potentially at Battle of the Belts or All Out, which I would not mind. The last match that they had all the way back at the TBS Championship Tournament, that was awesome. So let's run it back. Let's run it back there. Daniel Garcia and Bryan Danielson. This was Bryan Danielson's comeback match. Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. Holy shit. I knew this was going to be good. I didn't think that this was going to be this good. You guys did not see this. You need to go out of your way to watch this match. This was fucking amazing. It was this match and the Roosh and Jon Moxley match. Excellent stuff right here. So Danielson came in hot with some stiff kicks and some running drop kicks. Garcia then came back by whipping Bryan into the barricade. Bryan with a drop kick into the face of Garcia, and he was sitting in a chair at ringside as well. Then he hit a big missile drop kick in the ring. Bryan then rolled to the outside. He looked off, but he was just selling the neck injury because Jericho was claiming, oh my God, he came back too soon. Bryan was injured because of the concussion that he suffered at the hands of the JAS at Anarchy in the Arena. So Bryan Bryan was then thrown into the steps and then DDT'd on exposed concrete by Danny Garcia. Coming back from commercial, Danielson was bleeding. Garcia then got hit with a back superplex. Danielson with the stiff yes kicks. Kick right to the head. Garcia was able to lock in a sleeper hold. Nice solid sleeper hold on Danielson. Bryan then reversed it into a cattle mutilation. Then he delivered a tiger suplex, which got a 2 count. Bryan, he fired himself up. He hit an arm-trapped elbow strikes over and over. Then he hit the regal plex for a 2. Garcia then hit a fisherman buster. That got a 2 count. Bryan with the Busaiku knee and then a diving knee off the apron. He all of a sudden was trying to get back into the ring, but a hand reached out from underneath the ring and held Bryan Danielson's leg. No one saw it. The ref didn't see it. All of a sudden, Garcia with a pile driver and a sharpshooter. He bent the pressure back on the sharpshooter, and Bryan passed out from the pain. And it was revealed that Jake Hager was the guy that held Bryan Danielson's foot and helped Daniel Garcia win. Daniel Garcia. 1 year ago, I didn't see anything in Daniel Garcia, but now I'm looking at Daniel Garcia. Holy shit, Daniel Garcia is an absolute fucking prodigy. His match with Wheeler Yuta, and then this match right here, 2 bangers back to back. Daniel Garcia absolutely should be a future world champion. He is fucking amazing at what he does. This, undoubtedly the biggest win of his career. And props to Bryan Danielson. This was Bryan's comeback match after a 2-month injury, and he willingly put over Daniel Garcia. That goes to show you that Bryan loves this sport. He cares about the sport, and he cares about building for the future. So props to Bryan Danielson. Props to Bryan Danielson for that. Much respect to him. So that was Dynamite Fight for the Fallen. Very good show. Very good show. A lot of stuff to like about the show. Flowed very, very nicely. Very much looking forward to seeing what the future could hold for AEW Dynamite. So from there, let's go into NXT UK here. So NXT UK, not a bad show. Not a bad show. I wanted to see what they would do as far as NXT UK goes. And we got a semi-decent show. We got 2 championship title matches. I'm not going to say that it's worth to go back and rewatch. Maybe the main event, but they need to get out of the fucking BT Sports Studio. They need to get out of the BT Sports Studio. They need to start touring in and around the UK again. And we fucking need to get back on the right track with the touring and with the proper booking. Their roster has really been depleted, has NXT UK's roster, really. I don't know what's going on over there, but they really need to do something to perk that shit back up. So the show started off with Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen versus Mark Andrews and Wild Boar for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. This was Briggs and Jensen's second title defense. Decent little match right here. Went about 13 minutes. Not bad at all. I don't know what it is, but there really isn't too much connection between Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. They're not bad. They're not bad in the ring. They're fine. They're fine wrestlers, but I don't know. The gimmick just doesn't do it. I'm not sure what it is about the gimmick, but the gimmick is really not connecting with the crowd. I don't know what it is, but they can wrestle just fine. They put on a decent little match here. It did help that Mark Andrews is as good of a wrestler as he is. Mark Andrews clearly was the best wrestler in this entire match. Just saying. So Briggs and Jensen were in early control. We had some quick tags. They pulled off a Dante's Inferno, which actually looked very, very nice. Andrews then fought back. He got flipped into a stunner on Brooks Jensen. He then tagged in Wild Boar. Wild Boar took it to Josh Briggs. He hit a seated senton for a 1 count. Boar then tagged in Andrews. We had a drop-kick German suplex combination by Wild Boar and Mark Andrews. Nice tag team cohesion. Boar then went up to the top, hit a decent-looking frog splash. Jensen kicked out. Jensen came in with a nice-looking lariat. He tagged in Briggs. Andrews then tagged in. Briggs got caught with the Stun Dog Millionaire. Andrews went up he tried to go for the fall two pieces, but he missed. And Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen hit the high-low combination, the chop block clothesline, and they retained the titles. Decent little match here. I understand what they did. I understand why they put the titles on Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen, but, I mean, you could have picked a much better team to take the NXT UK Tag Team titles over to NXT 2.0, really. You could have picked Legado del Fantasma. Could have picked the D'Angelo family. You could have picked whoever. You could have picked fucking Malik Blake and Idris Enofe. They're better than Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. You could have picked Pretty Deadly. You could have picked someone like that. Could have kept the Viking Raiders in NXT. I don't know why it needed to be Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. It really goes to show you how fucking depleted the NXT tag team division is, both on NXT 2.0 and on NXT UK. Decent little match right here, but again, there's really no connection to Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. But they put on a decent match with Mark Andrews and Wild Boar. Amel versus Blair Davenport. Nothing special here. Nothing special. Nothing you're going to go back and rewatch. Amel is not good as a babyface. She needs to be a heel. She's really not that good in the ring to begin with, if we're going to be honest. She's really not that good in the ring. I don't know what the deal is with Amel. I would much rather see a Ginny, a Blair Davenport, Mako Satomura. Saray should really stay on NXT UK. Saray would be great for NXT UK. I don't know why she's not on NXT UK permanently. It is what it is. But Blair got hit with a bulldog by Amel for a 2. We had a roundhouse kick by Blair. That got a 2 count. German suplex and then a running face swash by Amel. But Blair Davenport, she kicked out. Blair Davenport then hit the B trigger, which is Kenny Omega's V trigger. She calls it the B trigger. And then the Falcon Arrow for the 1, 2, 3. Blair Davenport gets the win. Would not mind seeing a third match between Blair Davenport and Mako Satomura, with Blair Davenport getting the victory over Mako Satomura and becoming the NXT UK Women's Champion. Speaking of the NXT UK Women's Championship, we got an NXT UK Women's Championship match announced for next week. It's Mako Satomura and Saray. Should be a pretty decent match. Rohan Raja versus Oliver Carter is also a match that is taking place next week. Should be decent. The main event was probably the best thing in all of WWE all week, next to Sheamus and McIntyre. It was Ilya Dragunov and Wolfgang. This was probably the best that Wolfgang has ever looked. Wolfgang, he's mainly been a tag team competitor, but a lot of people seem to forget how good he is as a singles guy. Wolfgang, he held his own here with Ilya Dragunov, and what sucks about this is not the match. What sucks about this is the fact that I know Dragunov got injured in this, and he had to relinquish the fucking championship, which absolutely fucking sucks for him, because Dragunov was probably one of the best things about the entire product right now. Dragunov is fucking amazing at what he does. He's been putting on bangers every single time he defends the championship. Now here he is defending the championship against Wolfgang. Excellent match, and he fucking threw out his back. Sucks. So Dragunov lifted Wolfgang. His back just gave out. Something popped. I don't know what it was, but something popped. This was very unfortunate. Wolfgang targeted the back, obviously. Smart move by Wolfgang. We had some kicks to the spine. Dragunov tried to fight back, but his back kept on giving out. We had another power move by Dragunov failing. Wolfgang was in full control. Dragunov then came back with some spinning chops, a nice enziguri, and then a diving knee to the gut. We had a jumping senton by Dragunov, obviously not good on his back. Wolfgang came back with a lariat, turning Dragunov inside out. Wolfgang with a fireman's carry into the backbreaker, which looked nasty. Dragunov kicked out. We had a big forearm by Dragunov right to the face, and Wolfgang kicked out. We had a diving senton by Ilya Dragunov. That did not work out too well. Wolfgang with a modified cutter, looked like it transitioned into a modified suplex as well. I forget what he calls it, but It looked pretty decent. Dragunov then kicked out. We had a V-trigger by Dragunov. Knee right to the face. Northern Lights Buster. Dragunov was able to muster up Wolfgang. And then Dragunov, he hit the Torpedo Moscow, which was a great-looking move. I like the Torpedo Moscow. And Dragunov retains. Dragunov retains the NXT United Kingdom Championship in what was an excellent fucking match. I would highly recommend you go back and rewatch this. These two beat the shit out of one another. Wolfgang's best match in NXT UK in quite some time. Really good stuff right here. Props to both of these guys. Really. So that was NXT UK. We got about 2 more shows to go over, and then we're going to get on out of here. You guys have been doing really well. Appreciate you guys sticking by me throughout all the technical difficulties that Hardcore Sports has had, and throughout this pretty decently humid Saturday afternoon. And we are going to get into SmackDown, which was probably the best main roster show throughout WWE all week. SmackDown, not as terrible as it usually is. Not as terrible as it usually is. So, hey, good on them. Good on them. SmackDown was not bad at all. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, they kicked off the show with a good old-fashioned Donnybrook, which was pretty much a no-holds-barred match, no DQ match, no rules match, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The winner would get a Universal Championship title shot at Clash at the Castle. Sheamus attacked Drew on the ramp. These guys went nearly 30 minutes. And it was a fucking banger. So Sheamus attacked Drew on the ramp. We go straight into the action. Drew came back with a Michinoku driver. Drew then took a shillelagh, but Sheamus dodged it, took Drew to the floor. Sheamus then sent Drew over the announce table. Drew then got a table. Drew was then sent into the steps. Sheamus hit Drew with the shillelagh and then delivered the 10 beats of the Baldwin with the shillelagh across Drew's chest. So Drew then sent Sheamus into a barrel. Coming back from commercial, Sheamus was in control. Drew mounted a comeback with some belly-to-belly suplexes, a neck breaker, and a kip-up. Drew then got some chairs. He delivered a future shock DDT on a bed of steel chairs. Sheamus kicked out. Rich Holland then came out of nowhere, attacked Drew. Sheamus with a punt knee. Drew kicked out. So Holland then got sent through a table by a belly-to-belly from Drew McIntyre. Holland was effectively taken out of the match. Coming back from a second commercial, Sheamus with the Alabama Slam for a 2 count. Sheamus then got sent into the bar at ringside. All of a sudden, Butch came diving off the fucking barrels. Pete Dunne came diving off the fucking barrels. Sheamus then bashed a bar stool over Drew's back. Sheamus then with a white noise from the second rope for a 2. Butch gave Sheamus a huge shillelagh. Looked like a fucking huge cane. So Drew then got it. Drew then got the shillelagh. He hit Sheamus with it, as did Butch. Butch and Sheamus both got hit with the shillelagh for their troubles. Butch then got a Claymore by Drew. Sheamus came out of nowhere with a bro kick. Drew kicked out, which was fucking amazing. Great near fall. Sheamus couldn't believe it. Sheamus then got the big shillelagh. He went for another bro kick. Then Drew caught him mid-bro kick and powerbombed him through a table. Drew then was shaking his head. He's like, I know what has to be done. Bro kicked, or Claymored rather. Claymored the shit out of Sheamus. Pinned him 1, 2, 3. And Drew gets the victory. Excellent stuff. Really good match. Excellent. Probably the best WWE match all week. Theory, all of a sudden, then attacked Drew McIntyre from behind with the briefcase. And look at that. Revenge for what happened on Raw. Storyline continuity. I love it. It's a great thing. Storyline continuity is a great thing to see. Let's hope that we get that going forward. Baron Corbin, or Happy Corbin as they're calling him, he took some popcorn, he took a sign with Pat McAfee on it that said loser, and he bought a ticket to the show right behind Pat McAfee. So it was Pat McAfee and Michael Cole on commentary with Baron Corbin right behind them, throwing popcorn at him and heckling him, calling him a loser, saying you're a bum, do your job. Officials tried to come out to separate him, and then all of a sudden, Corbin hopped the barricade, Pat was being held back, and then Corbin kicked Pat McAfee right in the balls to a chorus of boos. The match is an act of desperation. I've already said it's an act of desperation. No one gives a shit about it. It means absolutely nothing, but I do believe that Pat McAfee is going to get a thunderous reaction, and the crowd's going to be fucking on fire for this match just because of how over Pat McAfee really is. Hey, maybe Baron Corbin and Pat McAfee will turn out to be a pretty decent match. Theory and Pat McAfee was very good. Let's see what Corbin and Pat McAfee can do. Why the fuck not? Shotzi Blackheart. She got a match with Aaliyah, and Lacey Evans was not cleared for competition. No Lacey Evans on SmackDown. 2 thumbs up from DJ Storms because Lacey Evans sucks. Shotzi actually got a win here. Color me shocked. Holy mother of God. Shotzi got a fucking win here. How about that? That's the biggest indication that you need to know that Triple H is in charge. So Shotzi, she tried to wear down Aaliyah. She hit a Boston Crab on Aaliyah. Aaliyah reversed it. Aaliyah then mounted a comeback with a big leaping clothesline for a 2. Lutez pressed off the apron. Shotzi then sent Aaliyah into the post, and then she delivered a leg trap DDT, which she calls Never Wake Up, and Shotzi got the win. Good for Shotzi. Let's see how she can develop. I actually love to see her as a prominent figure here on WWE's main roster. So Shotzi was still in the ring before Ronda Rousey came out. Ronda then took out Shotzi. Ronda then took the mic. She wanted Liv to tag with her against Sonya and Natalya. Rousey actually insulted a fan at ringside saying that your mother failed you. I actually love this. This is great because if we got heel Ronda Rousey, this actually creates a great dynamic for the match tonight with Liv Morgan. And Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey, they actually told a very good story in the tag team match with Sonya and Natalya. Liv didn't want to tag in. Liv was getting beaten down, and when she had the opportunities to tag in, she did not want to tag in. She wanted to do it on her own. She was getting double suplex. She was getting taken down with fucking clotheslines and kicks. She did not want to tag out. She wanted to do it on her own. That is how you make someone look strong. This is a great vibe. Maybe this could end up being a semi-decent match if these two women are on the same page here. Michael Cole also called double knees. He also called a code breaker a code breaker. That was one of the terms that were outlawed. So apparently now the code breaker is not outlawed. Looks like Triple H and his feel, his vibe is already starting to take shape. I like that. I like it a lot. Ronda Rousey ended up tapping out Sonya with the ankle lock while Liv delivered Oblivion to Natalya. This was a Bruce Pritchard specialty. A Bruce Pritchard specialty right down to the very last letter. But I appreciate the fact that they're telling a semi-decent story with Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. And if Ronda goes heel, good. I hope that she does. Usos and the Street Profits, they had a summit with J-E-double-F, J-A-double-R-E-double-T. But let me tell you something. He is nothing compared to DJ S-T-O-R-M-S, baby. I'm great. Jeff Jarrett's all right, but I'm great. So this was actually a pretty decent segment right here. Jeff Jarrett did not overstep his boundaries. He just wanted to let everyone know how serious he is about his job as special guest referee. The Usos then talked about busting up Ford's nose. The Profits talked about knocking the Usos upside the head to a point where they come back with their face paint on. This was great. This was awesome. So Jarrett then said, I'm not here to contain you. I'm here to let you run wild. All I'm here to do is count shoulders to the mat, 1, 2, 3. but it seems like there's a lot of tension. You guys must be feeling froggy, so why don't one of you jump? So we get a big brawl. Jarrett was trying to stand clear of it. Jay accidentally super kicked Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett sold it brilliantly. Jeff Jarrett got the super kick, the ever-living shit super kicked out of him. Brilliant stuff right there. Jeff Jarrett still sells shit so brilliantly. Jarrett then shoved one of the Usos. Ford and Dawkins then took advantage, and Ford delivered a Tope Con Hero on the Usos over the top rope, and that was it. Pretty decent segment right here. The promos between the Usos and the Profits have been great. Now, if these two teams were given a legit build instead of one-on-one singles matches every week, more and more people would actually give a shit about this match. But the build towards the SummerSlam match has definitely been better than the build towards the Money in the Bank match, that's for sure. Max Dupree was back with Maximum Male Models. They had a segment in the backstage area. I don't know why. I honestly, God, I really do hope that Triple H, considering Max Dupree is back on TV, I hope to fucking Christ that Triple H takes him off, brings back LA Knight, and we actually get what we should be getting with LA Knight on the main roster. I'm telling you, we need LA Knight back. Take Maximum Male Models off of TV altogether because they fucking suck. The gimmick fucking sucks. Unless I see Maxine Dupree modeling in skimpy bikinis, I don't give a shit about Maximum Male Models. New Day. New Day took on the Viking Raiders. Decent little match right here, and the Viking Raiders looked good. So Kofi was sent into the barricade. Kofi actually botched a top rope Hurricane Rana. I'm not sure what happened here. So coming back from commercial, Kofi hit an SOS. He tagged in Woods. Woods hit a tilt-a-whirl Russian leg sweep. Drop kick to Ivar, hesitation drop kick, and a guillotine by Woods. Slingshot DDT for a 2. Guard buster by Woods. Splash by Kofi. Ivar saved it. Heel kick by Ivar. Drop kick by Kofi. Punt knee by Eric. He tagged in Ivar, and the Viking Raiders delivered a double powerbomb, which looked very good. And they got the win here. Right outcome. Viking Raiders look good. They look strong. They get the win. And then afterwards, Viking Raiders took their shields and chairs. They hit Woods with the shield. And then they Pillmanized Woods by putting his leg in a chair and then smashed the shields on the chair into Woods' Achilles heel. Good. Get Woods off of TV. Get Woods off of TV. Woods and Kofi, and as the New Day, don't give a shit for him. Woods needs to be single. Woods needs to be single. But we get this match, and Viking Raiders look good, and the New Day were serious. So good on the New Day. New Day were serious. Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman hosted the special council address, talked about Roman's legacy and how he'll win the match at SummerSlam. Typical Paul Heyman promo here. Lesnar then came out. He got in the ring. Heyman was cornered before Austin Theory came out of nowhere, attacked Lesnar with the briefcase. Theory got destroyed again by Brock Lesnar. Theory tried to run away, but out of nowhere, McIntyre, getting revenge from what happened earlier, McIntyre came in and gave Theory a Claymore. He stared down with Brock Lesnar. So obviously they're teasing that going into Clash at the Castle because we could possibly see Brock Lesnar win the championship from Roman, which is not going to happen at all. I don't expect that to happen. That was SmackDown. That was SmackDown. Not as bad as it usually is. Not as bad as it usually is, and I'm very happy that it wasn't as bad as it usually was, and hopefully this is a starting point. You need a nice foundation to build with. And so far, it looks like Triple H has started off in a pretty decent fashion. Hopefully that we could very well see things continue, and we could very well see a better show going into next week. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see. So, that was SmackDown. Appreciate Danielle Wolf. Thank you for coming on in. 19 likes, people. 19 likes. 19 likes. Pretty solid stream here, regardless of the difference in presentation because it's not on the Hardcore Sports channel anymore. Appreciate you guys. You guys are great as per usual. If you guys have not already done so, hit the like button, share it out on all platforms, social media. We got one more show to talk about, and then we're going to get on out of here. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to get ready for SummerSlam tonight. Should be a decent night of professional wrestling. AEW Rampage, Fight for the Fallen. Not a bad show. Not a bad show, but this was probably the weakest Rampage of the year thus far. Really, really weak. Nothing over the top. It wasn't terrible because AEW, they never really produce a bad wrestling show, but there wasn't anything that was must-see on the show. Wasn't bad, but not must-see. This was more of a setup show. This was more of a setup episode for what is to come in the future. And there's a lot of fun things to come in the future, especially with Battle of the Belts, with Quake by the Lake, with All Out, with Grand Slam. You know what I mean. So we got Rampage Fight for the Fallen. We started off with Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh versus the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy. Flowed very, very nicely, did this match. Really nothing over the top. Cassidy came in. He got in there with Lethal. He wanted Satnam Singh, but Sanjay Dutt came in. He took off his tie and his jacket. He tagged in Singh. Singh with some big chops to, I believe it was Orange Cassidy, and then he hit a double cross body on the Best Friend. So Satnam Singh, he may have had the worst debut in AEW history, and it was bad. He had the worst debut in AEW history, but Tony Khan has settled him into a pretty decent fucking role. He doesn't make the show bad whatsoever. Sanjay Dutt is a very nice compliment to Jay Lethal's act as the manager, and then Satnam Singh being the heavy that he is. If this is his ceiling and he's just going to wrestle from time to time only when it's necessary, because he has not wrestled very much. He hasn't. He has had a very minimal showcase, which I don't mind. So Satnam Singh, he's not doing too bad. He's in a very good role. I don't mind Satnam Singh. I prefer him over Omos any day of the week. So Satnam Singh with a nice double cross body. He took, I believe it was Chuck Taylor. I believe it was Chuck Taylor. I think it might have been Cassidy. He took Cassidy, he tagged in Lethal. Lethal was in control coming back from commercial. We had a tag to Chuck Taylor, the Best Friends, with some double team action on Lethal. Singh was then taken off the apron. Double lethal injection by Jay Lethal, which looked great. Cassidy then came in with a satellite DDT. Sanjay Dutt tagged in with the light kicks to Orange Cassidy. Cassidy then snapped Sanjay Dutt's pencil. Cassidy then hit Dutt with the orange punch and the 1, 2, 3. Not bad, but again, it's really nothing but a setup match for what was to come. And what came after is actually very intriguing, because what came after was the heels, Lethal, Singh, and Dutt. They beat down the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy before Wardlow came out. Wardlow came out, and he stood his ground before the heels walked away. So if we're getting Wardlow and Jay Lethal for the TNT Championship, I mean, I got no complaints as far as that goes. No complaints at all. You want to give me Wardlow and Jay Lethal for the TNT Championship? Take my money. I am all for that. If Cassidy brought Wardlow to his best match, I think Jay Lethal could outdo what Cassidy did with Wardlow. Very much looking forward to that. We had Leon Ruffin versus Ethan Page. Page just absolutely destroyed Ruffin with the ego's edge. Page then complained to the camera that he wanted better competition. He said, I hate this place. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but maybe that could lead to a decent little storyline with Ethan Page and whatever, maybe management. I don't know. Should be interesting. Lee Moriarty and Matt Sydal. Decent little match. Really nothing over the top. Sydal, he hit a leaping back kick and then a nice roll through on Lee Moriarty for a 2. He had a big lariat by Moriarty. Sydal with the lightning spiral, that got a 2. Stokely Hathaway then came out again, and he got involved. and he saved Lee Moriarty. He gave Lee Moriarty the advantage. Lee Moriarty then with the leaping flatliner. Sydal kicked out. Lee Moriarty then locked in the Motor City stretch, I believe it was, and Lee Moriarty tapped out Matt Sydal, and Lee Moriarty accepted Stokely Hathaway's business card. So it looks like we could very well see Stokely Hathaway expanding his brand, and I think this is a brilliant move for Lee Moriarty being paired with Stokely Hathaway, because this could very well take Lee Moriarty to that next level. And if we're talking about Ring of Honor, Lee Moriarty could really be a nice staple on Ring of Honor. If Ring of Honor is going to be their version of NXT, give me Lee Moriarty versus Wheeler Yuta for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. That could be a great match and a great feud once Lee Moriarty gains some steam and gains some momentum under him as a heel, now paired with Stokely Hathaway. This is awesome. Tony Schiavone, he interviewed Claudio Castagnoli. Crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." He thanked the crowd, and he said how the crowd was always behind him, and it's an honor to stand here as the ROH World Champion. He then introduced Wheeler Yuta. He came out. Yuta was talking, or Yuta was about to talk, before Jericho interrupted. Jericho said Claudio deserves his boot up his ass. Yuta then told Jericho to shut up, and he reminded Jericho that he beat Garcia and that he could beat Jericho too. So Yuta was getting under Jericho's skin. "I can beat you." Jericho's going, "No, he can't. No, he can't." So Jericho then challenged Yuta to a match. Yuta then said, "Nah, I already know I can beat you." All of a sudden, Jericho then said, "I'll put my world title opportunity on the line. And if Yuta wins, he gets it." And then Yuta accepts it. Should be a very good match. Wheeler Yuta's on the run of his life right now. Wheeler Yuta is on the best run of his life right now, and I expect nothing short of a fucking banger. I really do. I expect nothing short of a fucking banger. So, after that, we had a video with the Acclaimed and the Gun Club. We had a video with the Acclaimed and the Gun Club, and what happened was, this was great because the Acclaimed challenged the Gun Club to a dumpster match in the rap video. And this is a great thing because it's a throwback to what happened with the New Age Outlaws and how they became famous in a dumpster match against Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. Really, really, really good stuff right here. I like it. I like it. So, after that, it was announced, first match was announced for Battle of the Belts, part number 3. It was Claudio Castagnoli versus Konosuke Takeshita for the ROH World Championship. I love it. I love it. This is fucking awesome. Cannot wait for this shit. You already sold me. You already sold me. Main event was Anna Jay and Ruby Soho. Anna Jay actually looked pretty decent here. This is probably the best that Anna Jay has ever looked. So Anna was in early control coming back from commercial. Jay took the brace off of Ruby Soho's hands. Soho then got hit with a super kick. Back suplex by Ruby. Soho then with the headbutts. Soho with a super kick and an STO for a 2. Jay with a nice looking gory bomb for a 2. We had the Queen Slayer locked in, but Ruby Soho reversed it. Jay then kicked out of the No Future. All of a sudden, we had a Queen Slayer locked in, and Jay choked out Ruby with the cast. The ref didn't see it. Soho passed out, and Anna Jay gets a nice solid win for herself. So Anna Jay, she's already getting better in the ring. So that right there is a good thing to see. We'll see what happens as time goes on. But Ruby Soho, she's getting more of a showcase on TV. That's a good thing as well. We'll see where this feud goes. We could very well end up going into a mixed tag team match. Maybe it's Anna Jay and Sammy Guevara, or Anna Jay or Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti versus Eddie Kingston and Ruby Soho. We'll see what happens there. That should be good. That should be good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update, clocking in at 2 hours and 24 minutes, going into 25 minutes as well. Thank you all for tuning in to this brilliant, brilliant show, as per usual. Even with the technical difficulties, we had a nice crowd, very nice fucking turnout. Absolutely loving what I've been doing here, and I've been loving the support that you guys have been showing me. Like, comment, subscribe, check out all the links in the description. Tomorrow, I got the rewind for WWE SummerSlam 2022. Hopefully, it should come on the Hardcore Sports channel as well. Hopefully, we'll be able to fix that up sooner rather than later. And nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. I will catch you all tomorrow for the rewind for SummerSlam. But first things first, I have a question for you. Very important question. I want to know, people, who runs the IWC? Who runs the IWC? I'll tell ya who, but DJ motherfucking Storms. And I am the fucking best. You know it. I'll see you tomorrow for the rewind.